guys, welcome in. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a great Thursday. Thanks for spending it with us. Coming up here in just a little bit, Doug Carter, former state police superintendent. He is going to join us. Of course, that big Jamie Noel documentary out, Tarnish the Badge. Many of you have seen it now. It's on YouTube. It's got hundreds of thousands of views at this point. And that is the documentary on the fall of the now disgraced former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Noel. And it emanated out of an investigation launched by Doug Carter, former state police superintendent. So Doug will be with us. We're going to talk about what came out of that investigation. Did the documentary, did it properly sort of sum up who Jamie Noel was? And probably the most important thing, does Doug believe there still needs to be investigations going on in Clark County? We had Sean Bostic with us, one of the original whistleblowers on Jamie Noel. One of the things I asked him, one of the things we talked about was, does there need to be further investigations going on? He said yes. What does Doug Carter think? So we're going to get to all of that in just a little bit. And again, it's easy to paint Jamie Noel as just a former Clark County sheriff, former Clark County GOP chairman. Hey, he was the kind of the star of that 60 Days In reality television show. But the real issue is he was one of the most powerful Republicans in the state. He had, as part of the Central Committee, he was a close ally of the governor at the time, Eric Holcomb. He was aligned with Mike Pence, the governor before him. And it's sort of a massive story. And I think a lot of people left that documentary, and Sean Bostic sort of said this, feeling like there was still more to be done. Could this guy have done it all on his own? Is that really possible? Could he have pulled all of this off without others involved? So we'll ask Doug Carter about all of that coming up here in just a little bit, about the rise and the fall out of an investigation that he launched, which proved to be very successful in terms of Jamie Noel being behind bars until 2033, one of the most powerful Republicans in the state. A lot to get to today, though. And we start with an announcement yesterday about you being overtaxed by billions of dollars. And it's something that has always amazed me when governments come out and talk about surpluses. Without a caveat, we're going to give it back to the people. When a government talks about a surplus, when government talks about rainy day funds, when government talks about reserves, they're talking about overtaxation. And look, just like your personal finances, you don't spend to the limit. You don't budget to the limit. You do put in a little cushion. But when you're talking about billions and billions of dollars and the reserves growing and the surplus growing, you're talking about overtaxation. You're talking about taking more from people than you need. And it's fascinating to me that Indiana is out yesterday, the governor, others out bragging about these things without acknowledging last year they raised taxes by $1 billion. So any surplus that you have, any extra money that you have is because you took extra money from people, both through the natural process of government and through a specific mechanism, which is last year to fund the government, quote unquote, fund the government. Obviously, they didn't need it based on the numbers we're about to give you. You took more money from people than you needed. You created special new taxes on people because you claimed the government wasn't going to be able to be funded without it, and now you have billions extra. It's an indictment of the system. It's an indictment of the taxing system. It's an indictment of the revenue forecast system. And it's an indictment of the current process by which we're taking all of this money, but there's nothing that came out yesterday that shows any onus or desire to give the money back, because all the talk about is what we can spend it on. So the article comes to us from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle. And it says Indiana state government cash reserves over taxation grew by $1.5 billion over the past year as tax collections increased much faster than expected. Bingo. So again, remember, last year, budget year, we have what's called a biennial budget in the state of Indiana. We do a budget every 2 years. And last year, we were told as we got down to the end of the session, we're so concerned about Trump's tariffs. We believe Trump's tariffs are going to have this horrible impact on our economy. Well, by economy, they mean the government. All they really care about is the government. They don't give a damn about the economy other than the taxes the economy can generate. And so we believe that these tariffs are going to create this horrible impact on revenue to the government. And many of us said at the time, okay, well, number one, why don't you just do it with less money? And they were like, oh, foolish child. Oh, foolish child. But then we said, well, if you don't know, if you're not for sure, why don't you just wait a few months, which you can do? And many of you who are longtime listeners of the radio show remember us saying this. If you don't know what the actual tax impact is going to be, why don't you wait a few months? Why don't you come back in June and then pass your budget when you have a better idea? Gives you a couple months. Figure it out, which you can totally do. No harm, no foul. Jim Merritt, who nobody knows the ins and outs, whether you agree with his opinions or not, nobody knows the ins and outs and how the government can work in the state of Indiana like Jim Merritt, and he said the same thing. It's like they should just wait. If you're not sure about how to forecast the economy because of Trump's tariffs, wait a few months. Then you'll know. You have a better idea. And they said, no. Our forecasters are saying this is going to be bad. And we got to come up with $2 billion of revenue, either through cuts or through tax increases. And what they did is they split it in half, $1 billion in cuts, $1 billion in tax increases. And we were told by the government, by Braun, by Todd Houston, Speaker of the House, by Rod Bray, who are all on board with this, we got to find $2 billion. And they were wrong. They were just flat out wrong. And so now there's $1 billion of new tax increases at a time where our government is bringing in huge amounts of excess revenue, which seems to make me think either all the revenue forecasters should be fired, or kind of the goal was just to create more money for the government. That's what I think. Capital Chronicle goes on to say rising revenue combined with an ongoing clampdown on state spending led to a 60% jump in the reserves to just shy of $4 billion as of June 30th. We're sitting on $4 billion. Our biennial budget, like $44 billion. So that means you have 10% of the 2 years worth of reserves. You have 20% worth of 1 year. So like, let's just say some catastrophe happened. You're sitting on 20% of 1 year of what it would take to fund the government. That seems a bit excessive. It seems like you'd have plenty of time if some emergency happened to come in and get it figured out. $4 billion of our money that you're not using to fund the day-to-day operations of the government, it seems very excessive. I mean, when you think about there's roughly 4 million taxpayers in our state. Obviously, some pay more, some pay a lot more. But with $4 billion and 4 million taxpayers, what is that? That's like $1,000 a taxpayer, right? That they're sitting on. Again, we raised taxes, created new taxes by $1 billion, which, I mean, it's every year. It continues in perpetuity. It was not a one-time tax because they couldn't properly forecast revenue. Or the government was so impatient, the lawmakers were so impatient, they refused to just wait a couple of months. Now, here's what Braun had to say yesterday about it. It wasn't an acknowledgement, man, we overtaxed people. It wasn't an acknowledgement, we've taken more than we need. It wasn't, man, I can't wait to give it back. The response from Braun was, I can't wait to spend it. Quote, it gives us the option on difficult places like infrastructure, reining in healthcare costs, early childhood learning, to invest, give some relief to oh, there we go, finally, give some relief to taxpayers. Finally, we made it. It's overtaxation. You've already funded the government. You've already created a budget. All of this excess revenue should be going back to people. It shouldn't be last on the list. It's always the difficulty of government. Do you guys notice this? It gives us the option on some difficult places like infrastructure. Dude, you have one of the highest gas taxes in the entire nation. There's 2 taxes on gas. The wheel taxes, all of these other things. There's plenty of money for roads. The money with the roads is not, the issue with the roads is not money. Tolling, new tolling, excess tolling. Obviously there's going to be an issue with revenue for roads when you take $700 million potentially and give it to the Chicago Bears. Yeah. That would create an issue, wouldn't it, Governor Braun? The issue with the roads is not money, it's allocation of resources. Reining in healthcare costs. Yeah, there's a lot of things that can be done. But you know what? Or as Diego would say, and by the way, our government is petrified of the healthcare industry to do the things necessary to get costs under control because they are bought and sold by the healthcare industry. They're petrified of the healthcare lobby, which is why every time we go down this path about reining in healthcare costs, well, but what about this industry? But what about these people? Well, you wouldn't want to make these people angry, and nothing really meaningful ever happens. Early childhood learning, you mean like babysitting? Which, remember, they just gave out hundreds of millions of dollars for people to have free or subsidized childcare. What about just the premise that we took more than we needed? Why does spending always have to come first? The statement should be as follows. We took more than we needed. We screwed up. We raised taxes we didn't need to. The right thing to do would be repeal those tax increases, which we clearly didn't need, and then give everything else that is left in the excess back to the people. How hard was that? Again, we're not talking about day-to-day operations of the government. We're talking about excess taxation. We're talking about surplus. We're talking about cash reserves. The state budget agency, according to the Capitol Chronicle, report released Tuesday, estimated the cash reserves will grow by $1.3 billion, or 32% in the coming year, to $5.3 billion by next summer. $5.3 billion in overtaxation. That would be about 23% of current state spending, well above the 10 to 15% level that Republican budget writers have typically targeted. However, don't count on any sort of refund. Don't count on any sort of refund. Remember, under Daniels, let's go back to when Mitch Daniels was governor and they put the automatic taxpayer refund into law. I believe at the time that number was $2 billion. Anything above $2 billion triggered an automatic taxpayer refund. And the lawmakers were like, we can't be giving this money back. Because remember, during COVID, they collected so much money because of the federal government throwing money at people. You see, for a while, the state got really good. They figured out, they came up with this little scheme where they could spend right to the number. Remember, I think there was a refund that came out under Daniels, and then they were like, nope, never again after Daniels was governor. And they got very good at targeting spending right to the number to keep you from getting a refund. Then COVID happened, and because there was so much money that came in during COVID from the federal government, they physically couldn't spend it fast enough. They screwed up. They couldn't spend it fast enough. There was like the reserves reached $6.1 billion, I believe was the number during COVID. And finally, they couldn't spend it fast enough. They had to issue us a taxpayer refund of $125 in 2022. And so what they did then was like, well, damn, we couldn't spend it fast enough. So they changed the law to ensure it would never happen again. Remember, they changed how they distribute the refund law, or what triggers the refund that they have to distribute. They changed that law. Now you can only get it back during odd number years. So you couldn't even get it back this year if you wanted to because of the law. And it only happens if cash reserves top 12.5% of state spending. So they take taxes from you every year. You notice if you were like, I'm only paying my taxes in odd years, how would that go over? I'm only paying my taxes in odd years. How would that work? Think they'd be okay with that? I don't think so. But now you can only get a refund in odd years. And if there's 12.5% of state spending in the account. So the government is once again has incentivized itself to spend more money. The more money they spend, the harder it is for you to get a refund. Because they've got to hit that 12.5%. Oh, and then if you do get if it does exceed the 12.5% in an odd year, it's no longer the money goes back to you. The revenue gets split between paying down state pension obligations and the refund. When I make the statement that these people hate you, I present what I just laid out. They've overtaxed you. The projection is next year it'll be $5.3 billion. It used to be that if the number hit a certain amount, you automatically got a refund. They didn't want you to get your money back, so they changed the law. And now it is tied to cash reserves being 12.5%, and it only happened in odd years. Oh, and then when there is excess revenue, only half of it goes back to you. The other goes back to poor decisions we made in the past related to pension obligations. We're bailing ourselves out for our poor decisions. You'll get half of it and consider yourself lucky. When I say these people hate you, what else would you call that? They've changed the law. They've altered the law. They've changed the system so that when they overtax, it makes it harder for you to get your money back. Does that sound like someone who likes you? Does that sound like someone who's your friend, who's on your side, who wants you to succeed? I say they screwed up. I think they knew exactly what they were doing last year when they raised taxes by $1 billion. They're not giving that back. The first conversation's about how can we spend it? And then at the end they get to, well, maybe we should give some relief to the taxpayers. $5.3 billion. A lot of money. It's a lot of money. And you are last on their list of things to do with it. Hey guys, you want to build wealth through real estate? Whether you're buying your first rental property or growing an investment portfolio, financing matters. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps investors explore loan options designed for rental properties and long-term wealth building. As a local mortgage advisor, Gary works one-on-one with investors to help them understand their financing options and create strategies that fit their goals. Learn more at loansbygary.homes. Loansbygary.homes, Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS, number 179207, equal housing lender. Gary's been with us since the beginning. Please support those that support our show. A couple of housekeeping items. Like, share, and subscribe. That's how you can help the Rob Kendall Show grow. If you like what we do, if you want to see more of it, like, share, and subscribe. First thing you can do, hit that little thumbs up button. Like the feed. Like the show. Whether you're watching us live on YouTube or on demand, hit that thumbs up button. Really helps us grow the program. And the faster you can do it, the more it helps us as we're on live each day. Second thing, share it out. Facebook, Twitter, wherever social media is, hit the share button. Let people know about us. All of our growth is organic. We are dependent on you. Share the feed out. And last but certainly not least, subscribe to the channel, whatever platform you're on. Whether you're watching us on YouTube, whether you're on Apple, iHeart, Spotify, wherever it is, subscribe to the channel. Like, share, subscribe. That's how you can help the Rob Kendall Show grow. Want to say thanks to Jenny, our super fan, Jenny. She hit the support button over at Rob Kendall Show yesterday. We have so many of you have been so generous over the years, and we want to say thanks to Jenny. If you want to support our program, if you want to help us grow, if you want to help Jason endure, that's what we should call it, the Help Jason Endure button. It's at the top of the page, robkendallshow.com, robkendallshow.com, whatever the amount is, $1, $10, $10,000. We are so appreciative of it. And big reminder, well, I guess it's a big reminder about a big event. October the 3rd, Saturday, October the 3rd, our old pal, John Rust, he's having an America birthday bash / Jason birthday bash, because that is Jason's birthday. He didn't know when he booked it, but it happened to be, and so we're going to celebrate it. It is celebrating America's 250th birthday. It's a big party, and he wants every viewer, every listener of the Rob Kendall Show to attend. Going to be patriotic music, antique car show, lunch catered by Double D's. I'm going to give a little speech on how great the country is, and a whole lot more. There'll be birthday cake. It's going to be great. It's a chance for all the Rob Kendall Show listeners, viewers to get together, have a good time, and you get a chance to see John Rust's palatial estate there in Seymour. No cost to you. John's doing it because he loves the show and he loves you guys. All you got to do is RSVP. rustforamerica@gmail.com. rustforamerica@gmail.com. That's where you send the email. You say, hey, John, my name is Joey Joe Stone, and I'm coming, and my wife's coming, and my 2 kids are coming. Kids are welcome, by the way. rustforamerica@gmail.com. RSVP for the big America / Jason, producer Jason, birthday bash. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Doug Carter, former state police superintendent, will be with us. We're going to talk about why he launched that investigation into now disgraced former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Noel, one of the biggest Republican power players in the state before he went down. And we're going to talk about why he launched the investigation. Did they find what they thought they were going to find? Does more still need to be done in light of this documentary that just came out? Don't go anywhere. We'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the Central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Welcome back, and it's the Rob Kendall Show. Look who it is, former state police superintendent Doug Carter. Hello.
It's good to be with you, Rob.
Okay, so I said I got to have you back because, well, a couple of reasons. But first of all, the Jamie Noel documentary is out.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of your distinguished officers was in the documentary who led the investigation against Noel. Let's start with this because you're referenced in there even though you're not in the documentary. When did you guys first find out about Noel? When did he get on your radar at State Police?
Well, frankly, he'd been on our radar for some time. But the first time we had actionable intelligence was probably in mid-2023. I think that that's
let me ask you this. What is on your radar? Like, what does that mean? Like, is somebody, you're getting some information? Like, take us beyond the scenes. What does that even mean?
Well, there's a mystery behind somebody or something. And there was a lot of mystery around Jamie Noel.
Yeah.
There's not much I despise worse than a dirty policeman.
Yeah.
But we never had anybody come forward and say, here's A, B, and C.
Okay.
We want to be careful we don't overreach.
Right.
And start investigating people based on hunch, rather with some level of actionable information.
So you guys had a feeling something was off about him.
Well, yeah, he and I had a very difficult relationship.
Can you tell us about it?
I can. Yeah, I can. It was, I didn't know him at all until I was appointed by Mike Pence to become the superintendent in December of 2012. And rumor and I never thought I'd be the guy. I never in a million years.
So like The Bachelor, he brings you a rose. What do you do when you get appointed state superintendent?
I got a phone call one day. And the rumor was out there that I might get an interview. I never applied for the interview.
Because you were the Hamilton County Sheriff.
I was.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I got a phone call one day from a young gal named Janelle. And she said, the governor-elect would like to speak to you about becoming the 20th superintendent of state police. Would you be interested? And I said, well, I would be.
Yeah.
And she said, and I said, when would you like to do that? And she said, 4:00 today. So I said, my schedule's open. I'll be there. And that's our life changed forever.
So when do you meet Noel then?
Well, again, once I got appointed and got in and got my sea legs, I started hearing about him in southern Indiana. It's a very complex agency. There's a lot going on
because he was
every minute of every day.
One of your guys, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, he was. He was.
Not to say you picked him, but I mean, he was a state trooper.
He was. He was a first sergeant at the Sellersburg Post, and whenever I'd see him, he was very, 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 very cordial.
Well, you are the boss,
and made himself available and all those kinds of things. And I mean, there was something to it. I didn't understand it, kind of like with you,
right? When
you first met him.
I thought you were saying like the first time you met me.
No, you know what I meant.
No, and
when you had an interaction with Jay.
Yeah, the first time I met him, I told the state auditors, like, you do whatever you want, but that guy is dirty. Yeah. You gotta be careful.
And we had an open captain spot in southeastern Indiana, and I remember him coming to my office and saying, if you give me that captain spot, I won't run for sheriff. And I said, why don't you stay in the sheriff's race? So he did. He stayed in the sheriff's race, and then he won. And then when he left, that's when our relationship went south. I'm respectful to everybody. Yeah. At least I try very hard to be.
Yeah, I mean, I said horrific things about you.
You did. You did. And yeah, you did. And here I am. And I admire and respect you greatly. And then he retires, and through a bit of a mistake, he was able to, they gave him his pistol back. And when you retire from the state police, that's one thing that it's in statute. You get to keep your service weapon.
Right. Okay.
So he didn't retire. He had 22 years on the department. He needed 25. Well, when I found out that they had inadvertently, because he told him a quartermaster, he had retired, well, they gave him his pistol back. Oh. Well, when I found out about that, I said, oh, no, contraire. That pistol's not yours.
Because it seems like with him, there's never an incidental mistake, right? He uses his words very carefully.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, very much so. And then all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
He had Senator Smith from down that way try and get legislation passed where he could keep that pistol.
Why did he want the gun so bad?
It's things, it's stuff and things that came to be pretty impactful later on, didn't it?
And money, so even something as simple as a gun was a big deal to him.
Oh yeah, money, power, relevance, and control. 4 terrible words.
It seems like with him, it was way more than he needed. It wasn't, he couldn't even keep up with the money or stuff he was bringing in. It was just the idea of having something, having power, having control.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And it got really ugly. And Governor Pence was in complete support. This is ridiculous.
Okay, so that's interesting. Doug Carter's, I guess, former state police superintendent, because Sean Bostic was on with us from Integrity and Accountability.
Yeah.
And he kind of thought that Pence and Noel were in cahoots or buddies or whatever. You're saying it's the exact opposite. Pence was not a fan of Noel.
I can't say that, but I never heard Mike Pence mention Jamie Noel's name to me until this gun issue came out in the legislature. When Senator Jim Smith tried to change the legislation, I came to know Mike Pence pretty well. I talked to him every single day.
And, really? Like as a state police superintendent, you're in touch with the governor every day?
Every day. Yeah. Every day. And never once did he ever indicate to me that there was a...
How powerful, these lawmakers, how powerful do you have to be to get a state senator to move on a piece of legislation just for you?
Well, number one, anybody that would try to do that is incredibly selfish. But number two, it probably happens more than you know.
Really?
Yeah, whether it's a business, a person, an entity, not saying there's anything nefarious. It happens to be through a cordial relationship where a person could benefit. But that's why I hate it all.
Yeah. Okay, so... At some point, you get enough. You obviously know about him. You've had interactions with him. But at some point, you get something that you say, okay, we got to go. Like, do you remember what that was?
Oh, I sure do. The current sheriff down there is named Scotty Maples. Scotty and his colonel, his number 2 guy, reached out to me directly. And they said, we need to talk to you. And I said, okay.
Because he showed that note that he had in the documentary in the court.
Yeah, Mark did.
He read it, right?
Yeah, right. And he said, but we need you to come. We really need you to come here. And I said, okay. Again, there's been a lot of history here.
Right.
Again. And I didn't talk a lot about that.
Right.
I knew eventually the right thing happens. So my number 2 guy, Colonel Mark French, the most wonderful human being on the planet, he and I drive down there.
And meet him at like in The Godfather. You meet him at a diner somewhere.
No, we didn't do what Jamie used to do. We went to the sheriff's office and sat in the conference room.
People, are they aware? Like, hey, the state police superintendent and his guy are here like that.
I think so. Yeah, there was. It did draw some attention.
Yeah.
Again, there was a lot of chatter down there. There's been a lot of chatter down there for a long time, and we sat there for about an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours, and it had to do with the pension matter of his friend. And we realized then, if in fact that happened, and it does, if it opens Pandora's box, then we're going to stay with. We'll certainly stay with it.
Had he found the wiretap yet?
That was the other thing.
Yeah.
Yes, Rob, that's right. Yeah, they found a device in the ceiling of one of the offices.
So how do you go about handling this? Because it's something similar, although Noel was probably way more corrupt than Kleinhelter, went on for longer.
For sure.
But how do you go about putting an investigation together then?
Yeah.
What do you do as state police superintendent?
Well, it's really relatively simple. We at that time we had probably 15 to 25 of these every week.
No kidding.
Going on around the state.
On law enforcement officers.
Law enforcement officers, elected officials,
okay.
Cities, towns, at the state level. It was constant.
There's that many active investigations of government
officials. Oh, they're ongoing. They never stop.
Wow. And a lot of times it never makes the papers or anything.
A lot of times there might be nothing to it.
Yeah. You get a complaint, you look into it, there's nothing.
Yeah, exactly. But we looked into every one of them.
Yeah.
And we did it very discreetly. Our intent is not to ruin anybody.
Yeah.
All it takes is an allegation, right?
Right.
Especially today, and you're in big trouble.
Right.
So I realized that if, in fact, there was going to be any substance to this, we need to put somebody down here that is going to be very, very capable, doesn't care about politics, doesn't care about pressure, and will always do the right thing and what they should do, never what they can. So the first person we thought about was a fellow by the name of First Sergeant Roger Drew over at the Versailles Post, a great guy, extremely experienced in that part of the state.
Do you pick them? Do you decide who's going to do it?
No, not always. But if there's going to be any that are going to be high profile, I would get involved, not because I wanted to know anything, but so that person knew they had complete protection from it.
Right.
And I would give them that cover.
Right. Because you're going into the mob down there.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And for a number of reasons, Roger wasn't going to be a good fit for this. And then the next guy is Jeff Herron.
Yeah.
Jeff has handled school shootings. He's handled so many, 100 homicides, the Dejan Reed. There's so much that he had done historically. And remember, Rob, it was a big ask.
Yeah.
It's a long ways to Jeffersonville.
Yeah, he lives up in my neck of the woods.
He lives in your neck of the woods. And he never once hesitated. And then Trooper Aaron Smith was killed on June 28th of 2023. So this slowed down a little bit because Jeff was assigned to that homicide.
Yeah.
True. Also.
These guys have got multiple cases.
Oh, he had enormous responsibilities. That's why I'm so pissed off about how this has happened. But anyway, I don't want to digress.
Well, okay. So at what point does he tell you, hey, we got something here?
Yeah. It didn't take long. Once he started digging, it didn't take long for him to realize there's going to be more to this. Sean Bostic was very instrumental, as you so well articulated. And then once we realized the financial issues associated with the fire department in Utica and Attica.
So the fire department came second, right? I mean, you were looking into other stuff.
We had no view on any of that until, if I remember correctly, when there was some inference allegation that he was paying for his child support from the fire department cash books.
How informed do you stay, or involved do you stay through the process? Obviously, you're in charge of the entire state.
Yeah.
How up to date on it?
It depends on the matter. Again, my only job was not. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to begin that.
Right.
I never did that kind of work before. But my job was to make sure that there was no interference. I'm not thinking that there would be, but this became kind of an animal of its own.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of chatter about it in the Statehouse. Obviously, he was very well connected to a lot of different people. And Jeff's one of those guys. He didn't care about any of those connections. He's going to stay right in the center of the lane and deal with what comes his way. And that's what he did.
My issue is this, and we talked about it for years on the radio show. I don't understand how the governor, not Pence, but Holcomb, who was super close with this guy, could not have known something was going on. Is that fair for me to say, or am I being unfair to the governor?
Well, I can give you only my perspective. You have yours, and I have mine. There's never been a governor in the history of the state that did more for public safety or the state police than Eric Holcomb. And with building and infrastructure and laboratory services and the pay issues, there are several pieces. Earl Good, the governor's chief of staff, became like a father to me. I just adore that man. And never once did either of them ever say to me, what's going on down there?
So never interference, never any...
Oh, gosh, no. None. Absolutely none. I was probably more forward with Josh Kelly on the Kleinhelter case than I was with the governor that I'd worked for 8 years.
Yeah.
They stayed completely out of our business and were there to support us, whether it be something as simple as something in the morning in Indiana or up to the Delphi murders, whatever it was. They were very supportive of me.
Do you believe Noel got an appropriate sentence? Were you happy with the outcome? Because I think the outcome came after you were no longer state police superintendent, right?
No, it came at the very end. I think the sentencing was either in November, at the end of 2024.
Right. Were you happy with it? Did you feel it was fair?
You know, I evaluate our system as multiple levels of accountability. The Kleinhelter did not get that level of accountability locally with the state charges. Jamie Noel did, and it was hugely complex, not only because of the breadth of his influence, but his family, his wife and daughter that were involved in this. How
do you think they knew everything? They because they kind of tried to play stupid on it, right? Like, get a credit card or whatever.
Well, I think the most disgusting thing at all to me was when Jamie didn't take responsibility for everything and threw his wife and daughter under the bus.
It's in the documentary. It's crazy.
It is. Yeah. So I think they had to know over time that there's something mysterious. We're living a really, really, really good life.
Yeah.
If you can quantify a good life with money, I don't.
You ever seen a car collection like that?
Oh, it was amazing.
Did you get to see it in person?
I did. Not in the barn.
Yeah.
But I saw it here when it all came up here.
Yeah.
I did not go down there to any of those search warrants, none of those things.
So you think the sentence was fair? Were you happy with it? It's not something you look back on and go, man, he got off easy?
Oh, no. Serving 13 years in prison is not getting off easy, particularly with the crimes that he committed. He had a huge detrimental effect on many people's lives, but he didn't commit violent crimes against them.
Do you think my dad used to say this about the offenders he dealt with, you're not sorry you did it, you're sorry you got caught. Do you think he's sorry about any of it?
I think he probably is.
Like he feels bad?
I think he feels bad not because of what he did, but because of his reputation.
Yeah.
It's very narcissistic.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of time to think about that. I hope he rebuilds his life. I don't wish him bad, but I don't wish him good until he gets out of prison.
When all of this went down, and Sean Bostic touched on this a little bit earlier this week, you seem to think there was more work to be done. Do you feel like any of that work has been done? Do you think there's more people out there that have evaded justice?
I do. I do think there are more people out there. But when Jeff Herron was completely gutted, they won't let him investigate a car accident hardly. So no, he would be the guy. He would drive to Jeffersonville most days of the week, along with a couple other young detectives that got enormous amount of experience with him. And there was and could still be more work to do.
Do you think that was part of going after Herron because of the Kleinhelter stuff? Was his involvement in the Noel case? Do you think there's any crossover?
I don't have any reason to think that. But the new superintendent didn't take any time to learn about either one of these cases from me.
Nothing at all.
Very little. Yeah, very little.
You would think those would have been the two things they would have sat down with you and said, we got, two major power players in Republican politics facing serious charges.
Well, there was way more than that. And I just can't even believe I say that. I can't even believe I say that to you, but it's true.
Doug Carter, former state police superintendent, is our guest. Okay, so I want to get to Kleinhelter in a second, but there is clearly an issue with sheriffs in our state. The misbehavior from sheriffs for a variety of stuff, whether it's stealing signs or, financial crimes or whatever. Do we need new reforms? What do you think needs to happen to try to prevent this stuff from happening? I
still have these conversations with sheriffs all over Indiana, and I developed those networks over a lot of years of service.
What do you tell them? Don't break the law?
What I tell them is get out in front of this.
Yeah.
You don't hear much from the association. You don't hear much from anybody really, and they have to acknowledge that there needs to be an additional level of accountability. And if you're afraid of that, you should be. Right?
What's it look like for you? What would you like to see done?
I think if there were some recommendations to financial management, not just the State Board of Accounts audits and overviews, but I think some fiscal management by local elected officials. Why would you
should be catching this stuff?
Why? Well, if the sheriff gives it to them.
Yeah.
And when I had that responsibility, I was always very, very open, very conscious of perception of impropriety, right? And I didn't want there to be any doubt about where a dollar was spent or where it went. Not that I did it all right. I didn't. I never did anything that was wrong. So I think right now the thing that they could do is to really partner with their councils and their commissioners, get rid of the egos, and talk about the reality of the day-to-day operations. I mean, it's amazing what they could actually get accomplished. And the statute's clear, Rob, on what they can use the commissary as an example of what they can use commissary money for. I think there's 9 of them. And they're very, very clear. It doesn't need interpretation by an attorney to say what they can use those dollars for. So if you use them for anything other than that, don't do it until you get council approval.
Right.
That's what the statute says.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think with all that stuff they would go to those guys, but clearly they think they can get away with it, and they do until, something, triggers.
It's unfortunate because 95% of them are really good people.
Yeah.
And they've tried, and they're trying very, very hard. And when Kleinhelter and Noel and Martinez and all these many other sheriffs get in trouble, what does it do?
Everybody's lumped in together.
Everybody's lumped in together. It's not, and that's just the way it is. And I recognize that.
Okay, so update on Kleinhelter. The Law Enforcement Academy or Training Academy has stripped him of his credentials, which means he can still be the sheriff. They can't unsheriff him,
right?
But he doesn't have any of the powers of law enforcement. Are you happy with that result?
Yeah, because you lived under the current rule of law and the administrative code that runs the academy. So yes, absolutely.
Because you spoke against a plea deal. You had spoken out.
Oh, I sure did.
Right. And so you're happy with what they finally came to the conclusion on.
Yeah, I think, but Tom Kleinhelter actually came to the realization that he would voluntarily relinquish his law enforcement certification and credentials, which I appreciate him doing.
Because you were upset that they were going to let him hang on to it through the year, and that's what you were upset about.
Well, and there was talk, well, let's let him hang on to it through the year. And then at the end of the year, we'll take it, and then he can't get a job in law enforcement anywhere else. Well, the likelihood of him getting a job in law enforcement anywhere else based on a simple Google search would be pretty remote.
He didn't seem sorry at all in his statement. He basically sounded like in his statement that he put out, like he didn't take accountability for anything, it didn't seem like.
Correct, that's true. You could have redeemed him. He could have redeemed him. I mean, this is all about ego and arrogance.
Do you believe there'll ever be any justice? Because you laid out to us last time you were here, that prosecutor down there could give this off to somebody else and recharge the whole thing. Do you think there'll be ever any justice other than what Ryan Mears is pursuing?
No,
here?
I don't. And it makes me sick to say that. You know, our governor talks about accountability and transparency, but where's the transparency with this matter, with the Mid-States Corridor, with Kleinhelter and that investigation? I mean, I wish he would come out and explain it. And hate me, I could care less. But
welcome to the
yeah. I mean, that really doesn't matter to me. I can defend everything I've ever said, and again, they'd all be surprised with the things that I know, and I just simply don't understand that. But I do not think Holly Huddleston, the Orange County prosecutor, who had the chance to do the right thing and didn't, has the fortitude to go back to Beth Schroeder, the prosecutor in Du Bois County, and say, let's shake that sketch up. Let's clear the slate. Give this to somebody else for a review from Northern Indiana, because she's whether she wants it or not, she's been tainted by this.
Yeah,
and I hate that for her. She has an opportunity to make it right, but she won't, so I don't feel sorry for her anymore.
Okay, before we let you go, if you were state police superintendent right now, what would you do about the Jamie Noel situation? You clearly feel there's more to be done. What should be being done down there?
Well, they'd have to do something that they don't want to do with Jeff Herron, number one.
And that's
let
him go. Let him go do his thing.
Let him go do what he's better than probably 95% of all investigators ever associated with the state police would do. If they don't want to do that, to assign someone else to it, meet with Jeff, let Jeff spend 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, whatever, with these individuals and take a fresh look at it. There may be nothing to it, but we're not able to say right now there's nothing to it. What we're able to say right now is there continues to be some actual information that could be followed up on and should be followed up on that is not.
And the current guy in there, Anthony Scott, has the ability to do that, right?
Instantly.
Yeah. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Pleasure's mine. Thanks, Rob.
Doug Carter, former state police superintendent. We'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on The Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Hey guys, welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. If you haven't done so yet, help us out, grow the program, hit that little thumbs up button. I know we mentioned it a couple times every show, but the reason we do it is it works. So hit that little thumbs up, help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Okay, you guys asked for this. So tomorrow, by the way, it was a great interview with Doug Carter. Like I'm totally with him. I think there's more that needs to be done down there. You watch that documentary on Jamie Noel and you just say, how could the guy have done it all on his own? And Obviously, the stuff as we've laid out that has gone on with Jeff Heron and the process that he's going through over the Kleinhelter investigation is ridiculous. Hopefully that all get resolved and the state police can get back doing business with the people, because I think any reasonable person looks at what went down and says, there's no way this guy could have done this just all on his own. Other people should be held to account. But a great interview. We'll post it up later. After the show's over, we post all of our interviews for you guys to be able to go back and view if you want to watch that interview with Doug Carter. Statehouse Happenings, speaking of things that are posted, it's up as well. Think of Statehouse Happenings. It's like a 30-minute addition to the Rob Kendall Show each week. We put it out Thursday morning, and it's the fastest 30 minutes in Indiana politics and government. Half hour of the biggest stories that was from the week before. It's Jim Merritt, it's Abdul, it's myself. You can view it under the videos tab. Go back. It's available on the on-demand viewing, and then obviously it goes on all the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all of the places. Statehouse Happenings. You can check it out as well. Tomorrow, you guys asked for this, and we try. We don't always succeed, but we try to give you what you want. And for some random reason, the other day, a bunch of you were like, we would like to hear from Dr. Michael Munger. Where did that come from? If you know, longtime listeners, longtime viewers, Dr. Michael Munger, Duke economist, great libertarian thinking economist, friend of our show. We've had him on for years. And you guys apparently want to hear about the economy from him. So tomorrow, you ask, we respond. That's how it works here. We're going to have Dr. Munger on with us, thanks to the request from you guys in the YouTube chat. Let's tell you about Bramwell Mackay, and then we're going to get to some fabulously interesting audio. And there's a huge story that went down yesterday at the Statehouse. We got some audio from that. We'll tell you all about it in a moment. You guys got a leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home. Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay, they don't just offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay. BRAMWELLMCKAY. BramwellMackay.com. Your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialists. All right. So yesterday, the governor came out. By the way, Fox 59 with the article I'm working off of. Several media outlets across our central Indiana area covered this topic. Pick your favorite one. They probably have a story on it. It's a pretty big deal. So the governor came out yesterday and, using an advisory opinion from Attorney General Todd Rokita, essentially struck down the minority and women's business enterprises components of Indiana's Diversity Business Enterprises program. The Attorney General, Todd Rokita, said it was unconstitutional under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. So basically what this did, this program, was for state contracts, for things, contracts, services, money doled out by the state for services. It gave preferential treatment to minorities and to women. So if all things were equal, there was a scoring mechanism. If all things were equal, these people got points, which would put them ahead of white men. I mean, that's basically what it was. If you were a white man, you were at a disadvantage compared to blacks, Asians, Hispanics, women. And the Attorney General, by the way, this program has been in place since 1983, guys. For 42 years, we had been besmirching the white man. It's wild, right? Like I do this when I was working at the Statehouse. I heard about this program. I was like, how is this legal? How is this constitutional that we openly give preferential treatment to people based on the color of their skin, their ethnicity, or whether they're a woman? The guy was always like, how is this a thing? But it had not been really formally challenged. And I mean, think about it. You're openly using, state agencies are using race and sex to give out state contracts. And it wasn't completely across the board, but for most of them. blacks, minorities, women got advantage, and they were open about it. According to the Fox 59, Rokita's opinion concluded that the program's, quote, spending goals, race and sex-based certifications, subcontracting mandates, and enforcement mechanisms all fail strict scrutiny. Yeah. By the way, we've said something nice about Todd Young. We've said something nice about Jim Banks. And now we've said something nice about Todd Rokita all in the same week. How about that? I wonder what sort of odds you could have got in Vegas that Rob would say something nice about Todd Young, Jim Banks, and Todd Rokita all in the same week. But this is a no-brainer. You should not be judging people differently based on whether they're a man or a woman. Either way, you shouldn't punish somebody for being a woman. You shouldn't reward them for being a woman. You certainly shouldn't punish someone for being black. You shouldn't reward them for being black. We should be giving state contracts, our money, to the best the person providing the best service at the best cost. If that happens to be all women, great. Don't put any men in the mix. If it happens to be every person is black or Asian or Hispanic, great. Give it to them. Fabulous. I don't care. But you shouldn't be giving preferential treatment to people based on the color of their skin or what their sex is. It seems pretty obvious, but for 40 plus years in the state of Indiana, we had that as standard operating procedure. Rokita's formal opinion also concluded that Braun had the authority to order Indiana Department of Administration, better known as the IDOA, to discontinue the unlawful aspects of the program. So basically what Rokita was saying is, not only is this unconstitutional, Governor, you have the ability to end it by executive order. You don't have to go through the General Assembly to tear this thing down. It's unconstitutional. You can strike it as such. Now, a reminder, based on how these things work, the Attorney General will issue what is called advisory opinions. He doesn't have the ability through his own individual mechanism to strike it down. What he is telling you, he is telling the legislature or the state government, of which the Attorney General, his primary job is to be the chief law enforcement officer / legal counsel for the state of Indiana. That's his job. Is to say, here's what the law says, in my opinion. Remember a great example of this. Curtis Hill, when he was the Attorney General before Rokita. Holcomb tried to put a criminal component to the mask mandate. Remember this? He wanted to make it a crime. And a couple of lawmakers went to Curtis Hill and was like, hey, dude, is this legal? And Curtis Hill came out and said, based on your request, my opinion is this is unconstitutional. It is illegal. And so Holcomb said, oh, okay, I'll strip it out. We don't even worry about it. Curtis Hill was basically saying if this went to court, it would fail. And so that's what attorney generals do with these advisory opinions. And so based on Rokita's advisory opinion, Braun issued the executive order which stripped the preferential treatment for women and for minorities from the scoring system for state contracts. Here is what Braun said. Quote, our Constitution mandates equal protection under the law because a system where the government picks winners and losers on the basis of race or sex can never be fair. Indiana has replaced divisive, politically charged programs with a focus on merit, excellence, and innovation. A level playing field where every single Hoosier has the chance to get ahead with hard work. Now, of course, the people like Diego are giving out, no-bid contracts. And, maybe, I think, in some of those cases, they happen to be people who donated to his campaign. Yeah, But at least in terms of being black or Hispanic or Asian or woman, you can't do that anymore. All right, so 2 pieces of audio. This was Rokita yesterday. And one thing I admire about Rokita, he don't care. Like, he says all this stuff. Now, some of it, he's really a blowhard. But some of it, you're like, most politicians wouldn't say it that way. That's kind of endearing. There's not much endearing about Todd Rokita, but this is one of the things. And the first one is Rokita says the quiet part out loud. White people were the ones getting screwed in this program, especially white men. Here's the Attorney General for state of Indiana, Todd Rokita, talking about how white people are getting screwed.
Well, by definition of the program, Caucasian people have less of an opportunity, right? Because you're giving preferential treatment to women or based on gender or race. So it has to be an even playing field. That's what our opinion's saying.
Yeah, he's right. Black people shouldn't get punished for being black. They shouldn't get rewarded. The same way as I shouldn't get punished for being white and shouldn't get rewarded. A woman shouldn't be punished for being a woman. Whether it's the government or in the workplace or whatever. She shouldn't get rewarded. When it comes to dealing with the state, our money, our taxpayer dollars, our dollars should be spent on the people who can do the job the best at the best price. A mixture of those two things. I am floored this has been allowed to go on since 1983. That's amazing. All right, so second part. This is pretty funny. So a reporter tries to big-time Rokita by pointing out Rokita didn't have the authority to issue a binding opinion and that Braun did this on his own. Like he was like, yeah, okay, yeah, you might issue an advisory opinion, but you're not the one who did this. Because Rokita called a press conference to talk about this. And the reporter's like, you didn't do this. Braun did this. And Rokita, I got to give him credit. He wasn't having any of it. He took his fair share of credit. Take a listen. The Attorney General of the state of Indiana, Todd Rokita.
And again, just to clarify, this is not a legally binding order. The governor is choosing to take action based on your opinion.
My opinion has weight. It's not legally binding in court, baby. We don't need it to be legally binding in court because the court's already spoken. So the governor and his agencies asked for my advice. We gave it. They're taking my advice.
I think we got a baby in there. I think he said, my opinion has weight, baby. I like that. I like that. And he's like, yeah, I'm not playing your game. They asked for my opinion. I gave it. If I hadn't given this opinion, he wouldn't have done it. Don't let the media boss you around. Good on Rokita on that one. I like that. See, I've said multiple nice things. Someone alert Rokita. He may fall over in his chair. That I've said multiple nice things about Todd Rokita today. I'm feeling kind of gross. We have to move on. All right. So, Jill Biden. So the Biden has a book. Did you guys see this? Biden has a book. It's conveniently coming out after the election. I saw there's a big promo video that's out on this. Biden has a book. It's conveniently coming out after the election. Who would buy this book? I don't know. Because, I mean, what's he going to say? I'm a brain-dead vegetable? Like, what is he going to say in this book? He's not going to admit to the obvious, which is I'm a brain-dead vegetable. I had no business being on my own, much less running the country. They propped me up and ran me out there long past my serviceable time. He's not going to say any of that. I'd love to know what the advance on this book is, but he's got a book coming out. So Jill Biden's going out and about. I'd assume it sort of coincides with this. Now, remember, not that long ago, Jill Biden she was on The View discussing how she thought Biden had a stroke on stage with Trump. When they were doing the debate on stage, of course, Biden may have not even known his name. And remember, afterwards, they're trying to act like this isn't normal behavior, which everybody who had seen Biden or been around Biden for any length of time certainly knew, no, this is standard operating procedure. The guy's a vegetable. We see it every day. He can't walk off stage. He talks to dead people. He can't remember people's names. He stares off into space. He says inappropriate things. He's got serious cognitive issues. But they wanted you to believe, well, I don't know what happened to Joe. What's going on? So then she goes on The View. Obviously, it's had this after Biden's president. And she tries to act like they keep the story of like, what happened to him? I was worried he'd had a stroke. Now take a listen to this. Here she is yesterday saying she could see he was okay after the debate. But this is my favorite part. He asked her, he goes, did I F up? She's like, oh, yeah, you effed up big time. Take a listen.
So I go out, and so after the debate, they said, 5 minutes if you want to go out there and, kiss him and say hello. And I said, yes, I do, for sure. So I go out on the stage, and I lock eyes with Joe. And I can see that he's okay, medically okay. I think he's medically okay at that point. So we're walking off the stage, and Joe says to me, Jill, I really, excuse the expression, effed up, didn't I? And I said, yeah, Joe.
No reassurance, right? No, yeah, you did great, honey. Now, of course, remember, they had the thing afterwards where they went out and lied to everyone. Remember the whole thing? You did great, Joe. You did great. She's admitting right there they lied to everyone. Remember that whole thing where they had the little rally afterwards? You did so great, Joe. And we were like, what planet are these people living on? She's admitting right there that they lied. She's just saying right there. Now, either maybe she's lying there, or maybe she's lying afterwards. But she's saying right there, she told him he effed up. But then she came out it shows you how these people lie about everything. You can't be on stage going, you did so good, Joe. And then right there admit, yeah, I told him he effed up. I mean, that was the big takeaway for me. But also, they keep up this, they're still keeping up the lie. There's something seriously wrong with Joe Biden. There was then, there is now. And we're still going to act like what happened on that debate stage was some news flash to these people. What? Joe Biden doesn't know where he's at? Joe Biden doesn't know what's going on? Joe Biden can't complete sentences? Joe Biden trails off? Joe Biden puts words together that don't make any sense? What? I was worried he'd had a medical episode. Well, he's been having a medical episode for years, lady. You're his wife. Okay, Fetterman. You guys with me think Fetterman's just going to jump parties? Like, that's where it seems like it's going, doesn't it? It seems like Fetterman, because the Democrats hate him now because he's totally pro-Israel. And he's against, you know what's crazy about the Democrats? We see this with the Republicans all the time. You rarely see it with the Democrats where one of their guys turns on them. Now, I'm not talking about like the middle guys like a Manchin or Sinema or Donnelly when he was in. I'm talking about a guy, you see this all the time with the Republicans, where they think they're getting a conservative. You see it with the judges all the time, where they think they're getting a conservative or constitutionalist, or and then they end up being a colossal disappointment. They cave, they give, they side with the Democrats. You rarely see it with the Democrats where like a lefty disappoints. Fetterman is that. He was a huge lefty when he was lieutenant governor. Remember, John Fetterman was a darling of the left when he ran. That's why they defended him when he couldn't put words together. Remember his debate with Dr. Oz? You're like, that's how bad Dr. Oz was. That's how much Trump worked against Dr. Oz. Oz lost to Fetterman and he couldn't speak. But the left defended all that because Fetterman was their guy. And so it's one of these rare instances where the left gets played. The left gets fooled. And I think what Fetterman figured out pretty early on is like, hey, Pennsylvania's a swing state, especially after 2024 election. Hey, it's got another Republican senator. It went for Trump. I can't be a huge leftist and get reelected. And so now all the left hates him, and there's these huge rumors that Fetterman's going to flip, that he's going to go to the Republicans. So Fetterman, couple pieces of audio. I don't know where Fetterman was with this. It was some sit-down forum. But Fetterman says something, and this is wild, Fetterman, and I agree. Fetterman agrees with me. I've been saying this. You guys know I've been saying this for a long time now. The establishment Democrats are scared to death to take on the lunatic communists. They don't want any part of dealing with these communists, and they're going to take over the party. They're going to lose the party. Take a listen.
So for me, what you're afraid of is defined by what you won't criticize or won't call out. And I'm always going to call out people that they're not Democrats. In fact, some of them aren't even socialists. They've actually self-identified as communists. I'm not sure why there's more outrage within the party, and they will refuse to acknowledge or say, well, I haven't been paying attention to that race so much for all those. If your record is what you're running on is the stuff you deleted on Twitter. So, and that wasn't ancient stuff. This was recent, actually.
Yeah, he's right. The Democrats are scared to death of these communists, these socialist people. and they're going to lose the party. You have to take it head on or they'll take over. It's happened all sorts of times throughout our history, our country, our world. You have to meet these people, not only where they're at, you got to go to them and stop it. And the Democrats appear they have no desire to do it. And Fetterman laid it out right there. These people are insane people that are getting elected. Now, it's starting right now in these deep blue cities, these deep blue states, but they're going to continue to just take over the Democrat Party. They're going to start winning primaries in non-blue areas. And then eventually they'll start winning elections. One other piece from Fetterman, and he's spot on with this. Fetterman said the Democrats have learned nothing from 2024 and why they lost the election. And the polling bears this out. As bad as the Republicans are, and as hated as Trump is in the polling and the Republicans in the Congress, the Democrats are almost as bad. And that's the one thing the Republicans have going for them, which may defy historical trends this fall in terms of huge losses for the Republicans, is nobody believes in the Democrats either. Nobody wants to vote for the Democrats either. Take a listen to Fetterman.
So you mentioned that the Democrats are kind of going back to where they were before with defund the police and some other issues. Earlier this year, the DNC came out with a long-awaited autopsy report, but it was kind of perceived as a dud because it didn't have a whole lot of analysis. Do you think the Democratic Party has done enough soul-searching about what went wrong in 2024 and learned any real lessons coming out of the last presidential election?
Oh, it's like, answer the question. Why is Donald Trump so competitive in the last 3 cycles? He's won 2. Could have won the other one. It was a small margin. Why? And why do we keep doing the same kinds of thing? When we win the majority in the House, are we going to impeach him again?
Yeah, he's right. He's right. The Democrats have lost 2 elections to Trump. Trump's never actually won an election. I mean, he was the winner. But both times the Democrats lost to Trump, they ran horrible candidates, arguably, probably, in all likelihood, the 2 worst major party candidates in American history. And I include that with Jimmy Carter's re-election campaign. Hillary and Kamala were awful. They were despised by a huge portion of the American public. Kamala also had the baggage of Biden weighing her down. And one of the mistakes that Trump made, and we've talked about this for years, and I don't think he's ever learned from it or he doesn't care or whatever, I don't know, is he never got his head around the idea of only about 40% of my votes were people that actually wanted me to be president. A huge portion of the vote that put Trump over the top, especially in swing states, were against Hillary and against Kamala. It's why these states still have Democrat governors, many of them, or Democrat senators, is because the vote was against the extremism or the incompetency or the corruption or whatever of the candidate in Hillary and in Kamala. Why did Biden do better? One, I mean, there's a couple reasons. Look, take the allegations of the voter shenanigans out of it. Just take that out of it. There's no doubt Biden did better than Hillary or Kamala. I tell you this conversation that I go back to when very early on at WIBC, before I had the radio show, when I was still working with the Chicks. There was a guy who was a producer at WIBC, and I'll never forget this conversation. And he had voted for Trump before. I asked him what he thought or how he was thinking about voting in 2020. This would have been like summer of 2020. And I was filling in for somebody. I can't remember who it was. And I said, like, what are you going to do? Because you sit there, you talk to these producers. And the producers were always interesting to me because most of them were non-political. They weren't working at WIBC because they were into politics. They worked at WIBC because they just wanted a job in radio. So you could get A lot of these guys that worked at IBC want to be on a fan. And it was their foot in the door. For variety of reasons, right? You would get board ops producers who were not political people. And so I was trying to have fun, like figuring out what these people actually thought, what their views were. And then I over time, you get to realize, like, you can actually learn from these people. Because we get in a bubble in our business. Like, we think this. We're around the political people all the time. You start to say, oh, well, everybody. It's the whole thing of everybody I know voted for. And you realize there's this whole other world out here. And so the producers were always interesting to me because they were non-political people in many cases. So I would talk to them about how they viewed the world. And I asked this guy, I just straight up asked him, I said, who are you going to vote for? Because you sit there and you talk to him and you go this way and that way and things. And I'm trying to you usually figure it out. And then finally I was like, because he'd say some things for Trump and then he'd say some things against Trump. And I said, well, who are you going to vote for? And this would have been the summer of 2020. He goes, I don't know. I said, well, do you think Trump's done a good job? He said, on some things. I said, do you think Biden would do a better job? He said, not necessarily. I said, so how do you not know who you're going to vote for? He said, because I loathe the way Trump handles himself. I said, wait. I said, so you think Trump's done an okay job, not a great job, but an okay job. You don't think Biden would do a better job, but you're still not sure who you're going to vote for. He said, nope. He said, I believe the presidency should be handled in a certain way. And again, this is a person who had voted for Trump before. He said, I believe the presidency should be handled in a certain way. The president should carry themselves in a certain way, and I abhor the way Trump handles himself. And I said, so you're considering voting for Biden? He said, absolutely. And I bet that dude actually voted for Biden. Now, I remember we had this conversation on the air about it. Not naming the guy, but we've had the conversation on the air. You don't have to like that. You can think that's crazy. I did. But that vote counts exactly the same. That vote, his vote, counts the same as each one of ours. And so when you're a politician, you're an elected official, you have to be cognizant of why you were elected, who voted for you, and the reasons behind it. And I don't think Trump, all that being said, I don't think Trump ever either acknowledged or certainly embraced, I've got to be better at coalition building because so many of the people who voted for me because they hated the other person. And so all of that to be said, one of the reasons Biden won was like that guy laid out. Kamala and Hillary were viewed as totally unelectable, totally outside the mainstream, totally unlikable. So people went to Trump. Biden was seen by many, many people as, it sounds crazy to say now, right? But it's like, it's a return to normalcy. Biden was the vice president. He was in the Senate. Most people, we talk about this all the time, they don't engage the way we engage. So all the Biden crime syndicate stuff, no idea. The media is not covering it. They don't know. And yeah, they hid Biden in his basement, but people don't pay attention to that. People believe, everybody has their own belief system, and you don't like it, but you got to live with it. And their vote counts the same as yours. And so to come back to Fetterman, the Democrats, look, the socialists play the long game. The socialists don't care about anything but the socialism. They'd rather keep losing in the short term to eradicate the moderates out of the party in the long term. They'll take over eventually. It's a long game. It's like the British Open started today. You can't win the tournament today, but you can lose it. You got to hang around. Pick up little wins. Pick up birdies where you can. Just don't make a 10 on a hole. Same thing here. The socialists, the communists, they're fine with losing. They'll stay around. They're staying forever. And in the interim, it's going to hurt the Democrats. It's going to cost them seats that they could win if they nominated more moderate candidates or had more moderate views espoused. But that's not how the communists or the socialists view it. You guys have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, and that's key. They can beat the price of the big guys. Easy to use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. If you got a dog and you're thinking about this in-ground fence system, you got to be thinking about two things: the price and the customer service. How much does it cost to do it? And going to be able to get a hold of somebody who's going to help you learn how to use it. That's what All-American Dog Fence prides themselves on: their price and their customer service. All-American Dog Fence, locally owned. Kelly and Jeff, the owners, big fans of our show. They loved the product so much that with their 3 dogs, they bought the business. Used to be known as Indiana Dog Fence. They back their products up, their Pet Stop products, with a lifetime warranty. They're designed and manufactured in the United States. Call or text All-American Dog Fence to get more information. Get a no-risk quote, no obligation quote. 317-862-6606, 317-862-6606, or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com, allamericandogfence.com, and listen to this incredible deal. You mention the Rob Kendall Show, and you get an incredible $200 off. $200 off just by mentioning you heard about All-American Dog Fence on the Rob Kendall Show. All right, fundraising is out. Fundraising numbers, campaign finance reports are out. You won't believe what's going on in the Secretary of State's race. This is crazy. I did not see this coming. Fundraising numbers, they're gold, and it tells us a lot about where the people are. We'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Help us grow this fabulous program. Hit the like button. Takes 2 seconds, really helps us out. Nobody's doing Indiana news and politics and government like us. And by the way, We don't say thanks enough to the thousands of you who join us via the on-demand method. We get so into the live show, and we love our live audience. Thanks to all of you, whether you're watching us live on YouTube or you're listening to us on demand on the Apple, the Spotify, the iHeart. Thank you to each and every one of you who listen to this program, watch this program every single day. And the great way you can help us out, hit the like button, subscribe, whatever platform you're listening to us on. And, of course, share the feed out. Let your friends know there's a guy. We got a guy. He's sitting there 3 hours a day talking about Indiana news, politics, and government. Okay, I don't normally do this. We're going to promote one of our fabulous sponsors. I let somebody else write the copy today. Our buddy C. Mills. You know, he is the wing connoisseur, and it seems like at least once a week he goes out and visits our fabulous friends at Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. And yesterday he went, and he's like, Rob, because yesterday was wing day. You know, they have specials each day. Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. They're open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They're open Wednesday through Saturday. And they have specials each day. And Wednesday is wing day. And so C. Mills calls himself the wing connoisseur. And so he went yesterday because it's wing day. He loves their wings. And he's like, Rob, I know the wings are great. He's like, but I got to tell you about the potato salad. He's like, you need to do a whole ad read on the potato salad. It's amazing. Oh, and he said the drink fountain at Double D's Southern Barbecue. He's like, that's amazing too. He's like, you're missing the boat talking about the ribs and the brisket and the wings. And by the way, Thursday is loaded jumbo baked potato day. He's like, those things are great too, but you're missing a boat. So C. Mills wanted everybody to know that when you go to Double D's Barbecue in Clayton, right there on 40 and 39, a little bit of a trip, totally worth it for lunch or dinner, you got to try the potato salad. When you get there, say, C. Mills told me to get the potato salad. Of course, they do ribs, they do brisket, and they're all about it. Authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue at Double D Southern Barbecue in Clayton. They've been winner of Best Ribs and Best Sauce at Rib Fest in Hendricks County. They're not messing around. You can see the full menu. DDBBQ317.com. DDBBQ317.com. Okay, let's talk about money for a second. This is fascinating. I saw this and I was blown away. There are what they call quarterly reports in elections. When you raise or spend money above a certain amount, you have to keep track of it. If you've never run for public office before, if you have, maybe you probably already know this. You should know this because you should have been doing it. But if you raise or spend money above a very certain small amount, you have to keep track of it. And the public has a right to know it. And it is placed in what they call campaign finance reports. And every quarter, you turn in those campaign finance reports saying, here's how much we raised, here's who we raised it from, here's how much we spent, here's who we spent it with. And that allows the public to track who is giving money to politicians. And so the quarterly reports are due, they are out, and there is some fascinating stuff as it relates to the Secretary of State's race. Now, we've said this before, we'll say it again. Money is not the only thing, but it is something. Because money shows, look, money comes in two types of ways. Big donations and small donations. The small donations will show you the amount of people that are behind you. The amount of the folks that are giving. And that sort of is a good judge of grassroots support. Maybe the enthusiasm for your campaign. The big money shows where the power players are. It's like in sports. They call them the sharps. The sharps are the guys who do it for a living. Make real money on it. They're not like Rob Kendall putting $1 on some guy to win the British Open so he can buy 4 days of entertainment. The sharps are what you look at, and the sharps usually come in last because the sharps wait for the public to hopefully usually set the odds or the payouts in their favor. And they're like, bam, here's my money. And the big dollars are usually the sharps, the sharp version of politics. They're not always right. They do lose, but they probably win more than they lose because they're in it to make money in many cases. So there's two types of money that you look at with campaign donors. Where's the enthusiasm? Where's the quote-unquote sharp money? And we have heard repeatedly what a fundraising juggernaut Bo Buy is. Oh, he's getting all these big checks. He's raising all of this money. He's getting these huge donors to write these big checks, people that are connected back to his father. Boy, he's going to raise all this money. Look out. And when you look at the campaign finance report, he's done okay. I don't think he's done quite as well as a lot of people thought he was going to do, but he's done pretty good. What is surprising to people, what is shocking to people, is how much money Greg Ballard has raised. Greg Ballard, despite not even being on the ballot, won the quarter. In the last quarter of the campaign finance reports, which just came out, Greg Ballard raised more money, a lot more money, than Bo Buy did. And he blew Max Engling out of the water. Now, we told you the challenge for Ballard, once he gets on the ballot, is can he raise enough money to campaign in all four corners of the state? Can he get enough money to be able to buy ads in Fort Wayne and Gary and Jeffersonville and Evansville? Greg Ballard's got enough name ID that I think he's going to do pretty good in Central Indiana. Pretty well? Pretty good. He's going to do okay. Greg Ballard's a known enough quantity that I think even without running a bunch of ads, he'll get votes. Now, again, the standard of success, what is the beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. The standard of success lies in whatever you're trying to accomplish. I'm sure Greg Ballard wants to win. I don't really care whether Ballard wins or not. Yeah, I told you, my goal is we got to get the Republican out of there. If it's Ballard, fine. If it's Buy, fine. I don't really care. It's an administrative position. As long as you don't have a horribly corrupt, unethical person in there, you basically just do the will of the General Assembly. I think Ballard or Buy would be fine. So that doesn't interest me. The number that I look at, and I'm sure it's not a number that Greg Ballard's all that concerned about right now because I'm sure he wants to win, is 10%. Ballard getting 10% changes everything. The 10% gets the Lincoln Party primary ballot access, which means they can disrupt and cause all sorts of havoc for not only the Republicans across the state of Indiana, but also Democrats in Marion County. I like that. I like the idea that there is a party of independence in which you're going to get some liberals running, you're going to get some conservatives running, and both parties can get equally disrupted. I like that. But when you look at the fact that Greg Ballard, despite not being on the ballot, brought in $671,819.41, that's amazing. And what that should tell everyone is he's playing for keeps. He's not just running to get the 10%. He's running to try to win the damn thing. And now that he's on the ballot, that opens him up to a whole new group of people. I guarantee you there are a whole bunch of people that are like, yeah, okay, you're interesting. I liked you as mayor. Get back to me once you're on the ballot. And now he'll be able to get back to those people. Now, one thing going against Ballard, he had to spend a lot of money to get on the ballot. And maybe tomorrow we'll kind of break that down because he does not have a ton of cash on hand. He had to spend a whole bunch of money organizing to get on the ballot. So there's two things you look at. You look at money raised and you look at cash on hand. Cash on hand is what you haven't spent. He's not doing nearly as great as guys like Bo Buy. Buy, on the other hand, raised $557,972.98. So Ballard beat him, public school math here, right? By what, $115,000. Think about that. Bo Buy, who has this incredible institutional advantage, his name, he's behind a party, the Democrat Party. He's got his father's connections. He's a good candidate by Democrat standards, certainly what we've seen. And Ballard beat him by $115,000. Now, again, $557,000 is nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of money, especially compared to what Destiny Wells, the previous Democrat candidate for Secretary of State, raised. He's blowing her out of the water. The guy that's the big kind of, well, I don't know if loser is the right word here, but you go, that's it? Is Max Engling with $202,745.23. Now, I know that a bunch of people are going to say, well, he didn't get into the race right until the end. Well, that's on him. That's on the Republicans. And the Republicans know when the filing deadline is, and they always try to raise huge money ahead of the filing deadline so they can go out and brag and go, look at all the money we raised. So you got all these power brokers behind Engling. He wins at the convention. You got a couple weeks before the reports are due. And I got to say, it's kind of underwhelming. The $202,745 is all he brought in. Now, he'll raise big money. He'll be well over $1 million by the time it's all said and done. But that seemed like a bit of an underwhelming number, especially when the guy without any party infrastructure whatsoever and isn't even on the ballot beats you by 3-1. Ballard beat Engling by 3-1. Organically, Greg Ballard put together $671,000 in the quarter. For the year, Ballard has now raised $870,000. I told you I thought to be competitive, Ballard needed to raise $3 million. I've always said that was the number. To be competitive, I felt $3 million would get him what he needed. Look, he's been at it for, 5 months? He's never been on the ballot, and he's almost to $1 million. He's probably over $1 million now. This is when the reports were due. He's probably well over $1 million now. It's pretty impressive. Bai has raised about $1.1 million for the year, $3 million total since his campaign began. Remember, last year, he got in late last year, and he was raising huge money quickly. He's sort of slowed down on that. But he's raised over $3 million. That's a colossal amount of money for a Secretary of State's race. And, he'll raise a whole bunch more money. He'll end up, now, I don't know if he's going to hit that $10 million. People around him were floating out that he was going to raise that $10 million number. I heard that from multiple people. I don't think he's going to get anywhere close to that. He'll probably end up between 5 and 6, maybe 7, but he's going to have to work. The problem Bai has is I don't see a lot of organic support for him comparative to what he's going to need. I don't see a lot of the grassroots people. I don't see a lot of people just are like, oh, I love that he's running. Here's $10. He's certainly got a lot of institutional support, a lot of big money support, and he'll be able to litter the airwaves with ads. But in terms of being able to turn that into turning out people to vote, I think you'd have to say when you have Ballard organically raising money without the party structure, because he has nothing to offer anyone. Look, he's a huge underdog, and he's not even on the ballot, and he raises $671,000 for the quarter. That should tell people this guy's here to stay. Engling, with a $202,745, that was the most amazing. Now, here's the one that nobody's talking about, and it needs to be put out there. Lori Schilling's the Libertarian raised $10,766.89. Guys, we may be kissing the Libertarian Party goodbye. She's raised like $21,000. That's barely enough to travel places. That's barely enough to even buy signs for your hardest of supporters. That's not enough to do any mailing. It's not enough to buy any television ads. It may be enough to buy some radio ads. And look, I want the Libertarians to succeed. My version of success for them is getting that 2% to keep their ballot access. I want them to keep their ballot access. We need more voices, not few. It sort of seems like a exercise in futility if Ballard gets this Lincoln Party on the ballot and the Libertarians lose theirs. She's got to start raising money. And I don't know where it's from because the Libertarians are really disjointed as a party. And one of the major things she's going to have is nobody's going to know she's running. And now Ballard, with his validity, both in terms of getting the signatures and raising money, is going to become the protest vote. For years, the Libertarians have banked on, they've always gotten, that 2 to 3 to 4%, because a bunch of people are like, I hate the system. I hate both parties. I don't want either of these guys to win. They've always succeeded, been able to keep, in terms of the ballot access and remaining a political party, around that. They're not going to get that this time. That's all going to Ballard. all the protest people are going to go to Ballard because there's a sense of validity about him. It doesn't feel like a protest vote. It's sort of the best of both worlds. You can protest vote, but you feel like you're actually doing some good outside of just keeping ballot access for someone. You feel like you're going to make a real difference with Greg Ballard. And so she's got to raise some money from somewhere. You can't not have any television ads or radio ads or mailers and expect that people are going to even know you're on the ballot. And if you ceded the ground of the protest vote, that's the danger zone for the libertarians right now. And she's a super nice woman, and I liked her. I will tell you, of the three candidates we've interviewed, so we've interviewed Bai, and we've interviewed Ballard, and we've interviewed Lori Schillings, she's by far been the most entertaining. But that don't count for nothing if people don't know you exist. Here's what's interesting about the fundraising numbers, and Abdul was all over this. For some reason, people kept giving to Diego Morales after he lost at the convention. Why would anyone give money to Diego Morales at this point? Listen to this. $27,739.87 Diego raised after the delegates dumped him. 31 contributions came into Diego Morales between June 21 and June 30, according to Abdul. And you can read the full story over at indypolitics.org. 43% of his entire quarterly haul, according to Abdul, he raised after he lost at the convention. Why would anyone be giving money to a guy who's not going to be in the office next year? What, his charming personality keeps him showing up at 5 a.m.? More helping check on the businesses? Does that make any sense to you guys? 27,500 of it came from 5 checks, according to Abdul. Chamos Electric LLC of Indianapolis for $10,000 on June 22. Nicholas Whitney of Frisco, Texas, sent $5,000 on June 23rd. Why would some guy in Frisco, Texas, first of all, why would some guy in Frisco, Texas be giving to the Indiana Secretary of State, period? But second of all, why would he be giving money after he lost the election? Verde Management Group of Fisher spent $5,000. Neuro Health Limited sent $2,500. And this is the weirdest one of all. On June 22nd, 2 days after Morales was defeated, Nebraska Secretary of State Robert Evnen cut him a personal check for $5,000, according to Abdul. Why would the Secretary of State in another state be giving a check to a Secretary of State who will no longer be the Secretary of State at the end of the year? Here's the other thing that's very odd. And this probably warrants further investigation. The remaining $239.87, according to Abdul, came from 26 small donors averaging $9.23 apiece. Almost none of them Hoosiers. One woman in Liberty Hill, Texas, gave 4 separate times between June 24th and June 30th. $10.41, $16.66, $10.41, $14.57. Why would some woman in Liberty Hill, Texas, be giving those small dollars to Diego Morales, the Indiana Secretary of State? Now, go back in my time machine. Didn't we ask this question before, why random people in other states would be giving to somebody running for a certain office? Didn't we go through this before? I think some people should be looking into that. I would be very interested to know why some woman in Liberty Hill, Texas, would give 4 separate times between June 24th and June 30th in the amounts of $10.41, $16.66, $10.41, and $14.57. That fascinates me. Something else that fascinates me each week is the menu at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, located on the water in beautiful Brazil. Listen to the menu this week. Of course, they're open Friday for dinner, Saturday for dinner, and Sunday for brunch buffet. Listen to this menu. It's unbelievable. pan-fried chicken cooked in lard in a cast-iron skillet, 6-ounce filet mignon, peanut butter cheesecake, and that's just the start. And don't forget, at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, they change the entrees each week. You can get a full menu at their website. Just Google Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. Don't forget, you can get the Bites plate where you can get a sample of all 3 of the week's entrees. You don't have to pick one. You get a sample size. Oh, and you can also do that with desserts as well. They call it their own little smorgasbord. Check out the full menu and make your plan to get away. On the water, outdoor dining available, surrounded by woods, beautiful Brazil, an evening out and about, or a brunch buffet out and about on Sunday. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, that's what you Google, or you just call. You want to talk to a real human, you call. 812-443-3003, 812-443-3003. Make your reservations today. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, there is some really bizarre allegations going on surrounding Ryan Mears and alleged targeting of businesses in Broad Ripple. It's gone to court. You won't believe what the court said. We'll tell you all about it when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on the Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Hey guys, welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for playing along. Nobody does Indiana news, politics, and government like us. All right, this story came out yesterday, and it is potentially a massive story. We'll see what truth gets revealed, but if it is proven, it could be, and I don't want to I'm not trying to do hyperbole here, but this is, if Ryan Mears is proven to have done what this judge alleges, he should be disbarred. It's gross beyond belief. So Ryan Mears is the Marion County prosecutor. And this case actually dates back to last year. In fact, it's been about a year. And it made the news, and it was a huge story in which Robert Sabatini, he owns 3 prominent bars in Broad Ripple. Rock Lobster, Mineshaft Saloon, Average Joe Sports Pub. He owned those 3 bars. And he was charged last year with 27 felony counts for allegedly underreporting sales. So basically, he wasn't paying his taxes. He was underreporting the revenue that was coming in. And Ryan Mears, the Marion County Prosecutor's Office, alleged at the time that Sabatini, and by the way, I'm working off a story from Fox 59. Numerous other media outlets covered this yesterday. It may be the story. I thought about leading with it today, but I know we have listeners outside of Marion County, but it's a huge story. And wherever you live, you should ears up on this. So the Marion County Prosecutor's Office alleged that Sabatini underreported his sales by nearly $4 million. An alleged underpayment then of $350,000 in state taxes between 2020 and 2023. Ryan Mears at the time, according to Fox 59, said that of Sabatini, it was a pattern of corruption that hinders trust. However, this case has been playing out in court. And yesterday, this was Tuesday, in a court filing, Judge Clark Rogers signed off. I'm reading you as it's written from Fox 59, so I don't misconstrue it. Rob didn't get it right. I don't normally just read the article from the provider, but I want to make sure I get it right as they wrote it. And again, you can read the full article over at Fox 59. Numerous other media outlets covering this as well. In a court filing submitted Tuesday, Judge Clark Rogers signed off on a 24-page document detailing both how the prosecutor's office and the Indiana Department of Revenue were conducting a, quote, fishing expedition that was unwarranted and not based upon evidence. The court documents detail testimony from two state employees involved in the investigation. Their names are Carmen Walker and Rick Albright. Walker is employed as an investigator with the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. Albright is an auditor with the Indiana Department of Revenue. This is a stinging indictment from this judge. A stinging indictment. Walker reportedly said that in 2023, according to Fox 59, she was instructed by Mears to, quote, look into Broad Ripple businesses. I want to repeat that back to you because that is major. Walker reportedly said that in 2023, she was instructed by Mears to, quote, look into Broad Ripple businesses and, quote, look into tax records. However, court documents say Ms. Walker had no reason to suspect that any Broad Ripple business owner had committed any crime. So it wasn't like, as Doug Carter laid out to us. Remember this earlier in the interview with Doug Carter, which if you didn't see it earlier, go back. We'll post it up. It'll be in the video section after the show. Carter lays out how they launched the investigation into Jamie Noel. He said, we suspected some stuff about Noel. We had a hunch about Noel for years, but we didn't have any tangible evidence or allegations to move forward with. He said it took the sheriff, Maples, who was the sheriff after Noel, to come to him with concrete stuff. And then he said, okay, bingo, now we can launch an investigation. And they did. That's not this. You have Ryan Mears telling one of his investigators, just go look into Broad Ripple businesses. According to Fox 59, Walker used Yelp to, quote, arbitrarily select 11 businesses in Broad Ripple Village. She then contacted the IDOR and requested tax return information, stating it was for a criminal investigation supported by Mears. That is unbelievable. If this is proven to be true, he should be disbarred for this. And maybe worse. There was zero evidence anybody did anything wrong. They didn't have a whistleblower. They didn't have an employee. They didn't have an accountant. Nothing. They didn't even have a business. She just made it up. Walker said that, and again, I don't normally read from the story, but Fox 59 did such a wonderful job reporting on this. I wanted to give them the credit, and I want to make sure I accurately report what they're reporting. Walker said that because she had no evidence of a crime and could not secure a warrant, she instead went to the Department of Revenue for tax information. So again, nobody came to them with any information, anything valid, anything concrete, anything like, oh yeah, okay, Rock Lobster. Yeah, here's what they're doing. She couldn't get a warrant, so she went to the Department of Revenue. The court states, despite lacking, let me repeat that. The court states Despite lacking a, quote, basic understanding of business practices, Walker found no articulable evidence. Ms. Walker defined a failing, this is according to court documents. Ms. Walker defined a, quote, failing business as one run by a business owner who makes $85,000 or less each year because, quote, she couldn't live off that. She went with her own lifestyle and said if the business is making less than $85,000 a year, it's failing. Her testimony confirms she lacks a basic understanding of generally recognized accounting principles. And she was in charge of investigating businesses. She should go work for Diego and check on the businesses. Excuse my language, but what the puck? I didn't say the one you thought I said, but I wanted to. And y'all know what I was saying. And then what a breakdown of our system. This is unbelievable. And again, great reporting by Fox 59. Despite lacking evidence and an understanding of the case, court records show that Walker was able to access confidential tax records from the Department of Revenue by, quote, simply sending a one-page letter vaguely referencing a criminal investigation. She supplied no evidence. She didn't lay out a case to these people. She just sent a letter and they said, okay, here's your stuff. So if they're doing that for these people, think of who else they've done that for. If she is doing that for these people, think about who else they've probably done that for. And think about what other government agencies might be doing that. And the Department of Revenue is just like, sure, here's their stuff. Which is where Albrecht comes in. Like Walker, court documents say that Albrecht also lacked a basic understanding of accounting and business procedures. Filings state he was unable to define, quote, markup, quote, cost of goods sold, and gross profit margin. This is why people hate the government, and they should. This is egregious. It's disgusting. Other examples of incompetence cited in court documents include Albrecht, again from the Department of Revenue, was able to calculate a 100% markup of $1. This guy works for the Department of Revenue, and he can't articulate or calculate a 100% markup of $1. Albrecht could not remember the names of his supervisors. Albrecht is not a licensed certified public accountant, although he sat for the test once and failed. Albrecht believes any business reporting less than $100,000 in yearly sales is committing tax evasion. Albrecht says the bars and restaurants should be realizing that at least $100,000 per month, but only if they serve Mexican food. What the hell? And these are in court documents. This is not Fox 59 making it up. These are in the court documents, according to Fox 59. Most importantly, Albrecht reportedly confirmed that none of the 11 businesses selected by Walker were being investigated by the Department of Revenue. They made it up. Ryan Mears, according to court documents, went to this woman and said, go investigate Broad Ripple. She randomly picks 11 businesses on Yelp. She goes to the Department of Revenue, presents no evidence whatsoever because she can't get a warrant because she doesn't have any evidence they're doing anything. And this guy in the Department of Revenue, just like on a one-page sheet, sure, yeah, here you go. What do you need? This is unbelievable. The judge concluded in his ruling that the investigation by Mears' office and the Department of Revenue amounted to a baseless search and, quote, unwarranted official snooping. The factors listed in the decision include no other police agency, including IMPD, was involved in the start of the investigation. None of the targeted businesses had been referred for prosecution to Mears' office. There being, quote, absolutely no suspicion of criminal activity before the investigation. And the alleged, quote, warrantless, suspicionless, baseless search of confidential tax information. Here's what the judge wrote. A valid criminal investigation is not created by simply typing a letter stating that a criminal investigation exists. Just as yelling probable cause exists does not create probable cause. Without any doubt, the Marion County prosecutor conducted a warrantless search that blatantly violated the Fourth Amendment. Wow. This is unbelievable, guys. It should be the lead story on every news outlet in the entire state. In conclusion, the document states, the state is asking this court to find that the Marion County prosecutor may search the tax returns of any Marion County taxpayer without a warrant, without probable cause, without an articulable suspicion of criminal activity, and even without any suspicion of any wrongdoing, criminal or otherwise. The same is absurd and must be rejected by this court. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office released the following response to the judge's ruling. In another Marion County court, a different judge considering a related case arising from the same investigation and involving substantially similar facts and legal arguments reached the opposite conclusion and denied the motion to suppress. We're consulting with the Indiana Attorney General's office regarding the appropriate next steps. Oh, I can't wait for them to get with Todd Rokita. Mears and Rokita in the same room. Look, and I will say this as a small business owner. I don't own a bar. Don't own a restaurant. I am an accountant. I do the absolute best of my ability to, and Jason will back people up on this. I am, because of the OCD, as on it as you can possibly be about record keeping. And everything jotted down, and every year my accountant's like, you and what other guy are by far the two best. But I freely admit, as Donald Rumsfeld famously once did, when he said, Donald Rumsfeld, former distinguished military leader in our country, once admitted when he put in his tax return, he goes, I have no idea if this is right. I've entered the information to the best of my ability. And that is 99% of our country. Unless you're an accountant, you probably don't know. That's why you have an accountant. That's why you pay an accountant. And, they probably do it to the best of their ability, too. The tax code to regular people is frightening. And I will tell you, being a business owner, to some extent, for many people, is frightening. And the idea that every day you do the best to your ability to jot things down, to note things, to file things, to archive things. Every small business owner thinks, is this the day the government's going to show up at my door? And a lot of times the government does, and there's nothing there, but it's still a horrible experience. The audits are horrible things. They're stressful. And sometimes audits are legitimate, right? A lot of times they are. The government sees something, they say, hey, this doesn't look right, we need to look at it. And then there's reasons for it. But when you have reports like this, where the government appears to be just arbitrarily targeting random people, it scares the hell out of everyone else. I mean, I'm reading that as a business owner going, oh my gosh, that could have been me. Now, again, I don't own a bar, I don't own a restaurant. I don't mean to spoil anything. I don't do near that volume of revenue. But every small business owner that reads that story, I'm telling you, it will cause them emotional harm. It will cause them psychological damage to read that, to know the government is out there, not suspecting you of anything, not that you're playing fast and loose with the rules, not that a whistleblower came in and said so-and-so's not paying his taxes, none of that. The government, on a whim from the prosecutor, just started picking random businesses, and by some ridiculous standard that you were not meeting, says you need to be investigated. And that guy was charged. His life, his reputation ruined for nothing. I feel so bad for that guy. Not just as a business owner, but as a human being. Because We covered that at the time. It was a major story. It was like, oh, that sucks. I spent so many nights at Rock Lobster. That sucks. And of course, it's a news story, right? The guy's charged. You're not making it up. You're not guessing. You're like, hey, the guy got charged with these things. And then you realize it was all done because the Marion County prosecutor was pulling it out of his ass. He was making it up as he went along. There was no rhyme or reason to any of it. That is a major story. And Ryan Mears needs to be held to account by this. And I hope when he meets with Todd Rokita holds him to account. That should not go unnoticed. Jason asks who prosecutes the prosecutor. Well, there would be a special prosecutor brought in to prosecute the prosecutor. And state police, I would assume, would do the investigation. It would follow the state police. Yeah, well, yes, under Braun, yes. So, anyway, that's what we know right now. I am, I'm not being facetious when I say this. Like, I have so many emotions about this. Because as somebody who's owned a businesses over the past 20 years, always tried to do a good job, always tried to go above and beyond wherever the line is. I try to be 10 feet inside of it. But as a business owner, you're always thinking like, did I miss something? Is there something that's going to trigger the audit? My accountant hates me because I never just drop the stuff off and, okay, thanks, I'll let you know when I'm done. He's got to spend like 3 hours with me asking him questions. Did I file this right? Did I do this right? Did I do this? Yes. We've been at this for 20 years. You're doing it fine. But this is the horror stories that for business owners that you hear this stuff and you go, they're just making it up. It's not even that they didn't do something right. They're just making it up. They're just winging it. And they're coming up with their own standards. And it's not the rule of law. These are the things that encourage people to not be entrepreneurs. That's the takeaway. These are the things that get people to go, nope, not for me. Nope, I'll just keep working. Yeah, but you have a good idea. You could do that. Nope, don't want to deal with it. I'll just get my paycheck. My boss will take out my taxes, and then I'll file at the end of the year. That's really what happens here, is it keeps good people from going into business. This guy got his name run through the mud. He's criminally charged. Does he get vindicated now? Think about how much money he's probably had to spend on all of this. How does he get his reputation back? What happened to his bars? Oh, yeah, the Rock Lobster. That's the guy that got charged with the felonies. Jason, I'll ask Jason when he comes in. He spent years in the bar industry. Everybody talks. Everybody knows. How does this guy get his justice now? Great reporting by Fox 59. Many other media outlets have covered it. Let's stay on this story, guys, because it's a big deal. And if it's proven that they did weaponize the prosecutor's office and the Department of Revenue against these people. And look, I'm sure there's great people that work in the prosecutor's office. I'm sure there's great people who do great work. I hope I never have to meet any of you people, but I'm sure you're out there. Same thing with Department of Revenue. I'm sure there's fine people in the Department of Revenue who do a great job, but these two people have given those two agencies a horrible name. And if you work in those agencies and you are one of those people that are no doubt doing the good work, you need to be all over demanding justice on this so that people have faith in their institutions. It is eroding faith in the institutions when stories like this come out. And it's keeping good people from doing great things. We got a lot more. Oh, it's hour 3. I just noticed what time it was. Time flies when you're having fun. Well, that wasn't really fun, but you get what I'm saying. It's hour 3, brought to you by John Rust, our fabulous friend who has a huge event coming up October the 3rd. Big party at his house. All the members of the Rob Kendall Show are invited. All you got to do is RSVP at rustforamerica@gmail.com. Rustforamerica@gmail.com. There's going to be patriotic music, an antique car show, lunch catered by Double D's. I'm going to give a little speech about how awesome the country is, and a whole bunch more. Oh, and by the way, it coincides with Oktoberfest in Seymour, so if you want to go do something a little bit after, plenty to do down there that time of year. Event starts at noon. Again, no cost. All you got to do, RSVP, tell John, hey, give him your name, how many people you're bringing with you, and that's all he needs. And it's Jason's birthday, so celebrate with us. rustforamerica@gmail.com. Hour 3 is upon us. So much more to get to, including the best YouTube comments of the day. Brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. A lot more coming up next. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Jason's coming up here just a little bit. You guys become the star. Best comments of the day brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Remember, in order to chat, all you got to do is be a subscriber of this channel. That's it. Part of that like, share, and subscribe. That's the benefit. You can comment each and every day. Of course, we have a little competition. Top chatters of the day. We reveal that at the end of the show. And the best comments, which spur more conversation going on, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. We'll read those here in just a little bit. But first, big news coming to us from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle. State regulators have begun a process of investigating utility profit margins and bill charges. And this is part of the pledge by Braun to lean into the affordability issue. Now, look, we continue to say there's only so much these people can do. The IURC, the Indian Utility Regulatory Commission, Braun keeps presenting them in these appointments as some sort of silver bullet. The reality is there's only so much they can do because they are bound by statutes and confines of law. If we are really going to make meaningful changes in regards to utility rates, it has to come from the General Assembly with new mandates towards the IURC. We've talked about this with Nikki Kelly. We've talked about this with Jim Merritt, who's on the IURC nominating committee. They're in the know, and they keep saying the same thing. The meaningful change has to come out of the General Assembly. Anthony Swinger is the new head of the IURC. Of course, it was Andy Zay. He didn't rule the way Braun wanted in the AES rate case, and Braun demoted him. And the first thing that the commission, again, the Indiana Capitol Chronicle with the article, if you want to read it for yourself, the first thing this commission is going to look into are utility profits that they're allowed to connect. The profits the utilities are allowed to collect on investments they've made in capital projects. And we've talked about how the profit margins for utilities has increased over the last couple of years for every dollar they're spending or every dollar that is paid. Every dollar you're paying to the utility companies, the profit margin is going up. That has to stop. There's no reason that a business which exists because of a monopoly granted by the government can be increasing their profit margin. I can't shop it. I can't go without it. You are taking a necessity. You are giving that business a monopoly on it, so I can't shop it, and I have to have it. Well, okay, if you're going to do that, then they shouldn't be able to make more money off of it, because the only reason they're making any money is because of the monopoly granted by the government. Swinger said, quote, Anthony Swinger, the new head of the IURC, if there are specific parameters we can set for considering return on equity in those multi-year rate plans, now's the time to set those. The commission oversees the 5 owner-invested electric utilities, in addition to 9 municipal ones. So look, they've got to come up with a strategy on how to get the General Assembly to act. They're like dealing with the symptom instead of the disease here. The disease are the policies themselves, which the utilities are fully aware of, and they have numerous high-priced attorneys that know the law like the back of their hand, and they operate within the confines of the law. You've got to change the law. The other investigation will examine how trackers, better known as the trackers are the code word for fluctuating charges added to utility bills for fuel expenses and more, will fit into the new regulatory scheme. So there's a whole bunch of things like fuel that the utility can change the rate on based on what it costs them. So part of when your utility bill goes up, it's the cost of the fuel itself. Look, the whole utility bill thing, based on the fact that there are monopolies to which the government, the business is making money based on a monopoly, those are giant scams. The whole thing's a giant scam against you. Now, good on the utility company. They're able to get it. They're granted it by the government. But again, let's simplify this here. A for-profit business with a service that people need to live their daily lives is granted a monopoly on that to prevent competition by the government. And then all that company has to do is get permission from the government, and whatever they'll go for, they can raise your rates as much as they want. And over the past couple of years, they have increased for every dollar you're forced to spend for skyrocketing rates, the amount of profit they're making in every single dollar. On every test, on every platform that fails the smell test, it's not right. The IURC, I think, is getting the memo from the governor that putting some level of barricade in front of this is a top priority. But ultimately, they are not going to succeed without the help of the General Assembly. And it's going to take action this year from the leadership. We'll see if it works. We'll see what happens. Hey, guys, let me tell you about Bramwell Mackay. They've been with us from the beginning. They are a huge fan of our show, huge supporter of what we do, and they would love to get to work for you. If you got a masonry color mismatch on your home, a previous repair that's catching your eye, I don't like the way that looks, you're not happy with the brick color on your home and ready for just like a total makeover, Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry staining and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend your repairs or you want to completely transform your home's exterior, you want to build something new, Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY.com, BramwellMackay.com, beauty built to endure. All right, couple of housekeeping items. Don't forget, if you haven't done so yet, help us grow the program. Hit that little like button. If you're listening to us on Apple or iHeart or Spotify, give us that 5-star review. Write us a good review over there if you'd be so kind. All of those things help us grow the Rob Kendall Show, get this program to more people, talk about politics, Indiana news, politics, and government, ways you're not going to hear anywhere else. If you missed any of the Doug Carter interview earlier, we're going to post that up later once we get off the air in the video section of the feed. You can go back and watch it anytime you want. And Statehouse Happenings, it is up. We're doing a deep dive on this Chuck Goodrich appointment to be the head of the Secretary of Commerce. Of course, he runs this company, Gaylor Electric, who makes huge money off building data centers. Chuck Goodrich, as the Secretary of Commerce, will oversee incentives to data centers. So conceivably, companies that he helps build. And he's not stepping down as the CEO of this company. So we're going to do a dive on that today. We're going to talk about the property tax. J.D. Prescott's plan to eliminate property taxes. We're talking about what a dumpster fire that's become. We'll talk with Jim Merritt about the IURC. They've got a new committee member they're going to have to nominate to the governor. We'll talk about that. Abdul with us on the big announcement from Rokita and Braun that they're getting rid of race and sex-based bonus points, for lack of a better term, when deciding state contracts. All that and more on Statehouse Happenings. It's available for all you on-demand listeners in your platform now. And if you want to watch it, get on the video tab there. Check out Statehouse Happenings. 30 minutes, fastest 30 minutes in Indiana politics and government, recapping the biggest stories from the week that was. And with that, it is time. Everybody's favorite part of the show, where they become the star. The best YouTube comments of the day, which spurs more conversation from us. Brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Hello, producer Jason.
My time keeps increasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 40 minutes now. Awesome.
Well, you got to set up the set, so you got 35 minutes.
Okay. This chat brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. If your water heater, water softener, well pump goes out, even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing says thank you to all military, firefighters, and police officers with that American Heroes discount. Take advantage of it. Give John a call, 765-315-7558. John McKinney, Black Sheep Plumbing, also in the chat, 765-315-7558, Black Sheep Plumbing.
Don't forget to be part of the YouTube chat. All you got to do, subscribe to the channel, and then you can meet hundreds of other very fabulous Rob Kendall Show listeners like yourself. You can give your opinion. Maybe we read it here towards the end of the program. And if you're super competitive, you can win Top Chatter of the Day, which we read those at the end of every program.
Yes, we do. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, John McKinney, again, speaking of him being in the chat, one of the things he popped in about was he said he had somebody that was going to go in business with him and decided not to because they'd heard that the prosecutor was, checking out all the taxes and, that sort of thing more than they should be. So that is certainly a thing.
Look, I mean, it is the greatest fear of any business owner. And look, that's why you have accountants and they handle it. And, you do your best to be as above board as you possibly can. Look, there are some real scumbags out there that clearly don't pay their fair share.
Sure.
They cut the, they don't.
Seems like there'd be enough of those out there that they could find, though, they shouldn't have to go after law-abiding citizens.
But it's like, gosh, dang, man, there's so many small business owners out there. They do it the right way. They try to pay everything they owe. They go to work each day. And then they see stories like this and they're like, am I next?
Mm-hmm.
Am I the guy they're going to get next?
Mm-hmm.
What a horrible thing if that's
it looks
true.
like, again, I'm just Googling here, so this is, I don't know what facts this would be, but the Rock Lobster guy was found not guilty of tax evasion on 27 felony charges.
Yeah, can you imagine facing
27 charges?
27?
You feel like your life is going to be over, both financially and whatever, and then he's
well, okay, so this is perfect chance to talk to you about this because you spent years in the bar industry. In addition to the various other industries.
I didn't deposit. I didn't go to the bank or anything. I didn't hand. All they did was count the money, put it on the table. The owner came in, picked it up, whatever baggies he put it in his drywall in his house. That's his issue, not mine.
But you know how the bar industry works. Everybody talks to each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, and then the public perception is, even if you like the bar, well, hey, that guy's a criminal. Hey, he makes the news. He's charged with these felonies. How do you get your reputation back? And the bar industry is a pretty small profit margin to begin with, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends. I mean, a restaurant, it's hit and miss. I mean, it's either what do they call that? You're either banking or you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like you get the luck of the draw and location, and you might be hot this year or not next year. And, again, mine was basically gentlemen's clubs, so they always did pretty well. I mean, there was usually back then a couple grand or more a night in profit. That's all cash business. So, a lot of rumors about where that cash went, but bottom line, I don't think a lot like your restaurants and things like that. It depends, but I mean, like Double D's, it'd be an interesting conversation to have with them on what, not how much they make, but, they're certainly different than a gentleman's club.
And I hate that because I have so many great memories at Rock Lobster, and I hate that he had to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he owned it when I was there. I don't know how long he's owned it, but
yeah, I didn't get into all that.
Anyway,
but,
that's just horrible if that story is true.
And Thursday, Blue Shirt Day. Just for those of you that have already pointed that out.
I knew it when I put it on, too. I was like, I should text him.
Yeah, I need to get rid of all my solid color shirts and go to the checks. All right. I'm not sure who was in first today because sometimes the chat doesn't let me. I don't know. I was late getting the looking at it all, so I'm not quite sure. I think it was Real Cowboy Chris. Could have been Kevin Branham. Could have been. I'm not really sure. But
it was one of you people.
It was one of our awesome chatters, and we do appreciate it. But the first one I came across was Real Cowboy Chris. Good morning from Bluffton.
Oh, yes.
Checking in from Bluffton.
Yes,
I'm listening to today's episode of Statehouse Happenings.
Oh, excellent.
This would have
Thank
been
you.
earlier. I hope everyone has a great day. So far, so good.
Excellent.
All right. Kevin Branham, if you need gas, it's going up.
Yes, I noticed that. I got gas the other day. I figured with the Trump starting the bombings again that gas would go up.
Yeah, even though that really doesn't correlate technically to the price, but what the hell. Driver 4562. It would only be good for 1 year. What are we talking about here? If anything, this rainy day crap. Oh, okay, we're talking about your first segment.
Yes.
About
overtaxation.
Overtaxation. If anything, this rainy day crap needs to be returned to the taxpayers. They will find a way to spend it on Braun's private highway one way or another. How much was the overtaxation?
Well,
they call it a surplus.
The
but
surplus
it's an
will be up to $5.23 billion. I think it was the number they projected.
$5.23 billion
next year.
And of course, people, that's been all over Facebook,
the
and everybody's like, "Oh, we should spend that on the homeless. We should spend that on this. Spend it on that." Why are we? Well, no, they should have better, handling of the money and give that back to us.
Well, the fact that they deliberately raised taxes by $1 billion last year, like they said, we are raising taxes by $1 billion because we aren't going to have any money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have way more money than you need. So you admitted you didn't need to raise those taxes.
Right. But we still need to toll 70 and 80 and all that good stuff. Jenny Green, good morning. Agree, driver. Well, with the driver that was in there. All should be returned to the taxpayers. Yes, it should. It never will. Steve Green with an E. Good morning, all. Let's have a great show. And the chat's on fire. Let's go. Driver, looking forward to that Carter interview. That was a good interview.
Yeah, Doug's great, man.
Yep, he's a good one.
Love Doug.
Okay.
Yeah, Doug and I used to be mortal enemies, and now we're friends.
Oh, really? What'd you have against Doug?
Well, I don't mean like
nice guy.
I'd actually never met Doug in person before. I met him at the wherever that was that we met that day when he told me about Kleinhelter. But I mean, I was very critical of Doug's constitutional carry stance.
Okay.
And the way Delphi was handled.
I got you.
And that's his job, though, right? Like his job is to be the buffer, right? Somebody's got to be the guy that takes the smoke.
Well, you held his feet to the fire, so nothing wrong with that.
No,
I'm sure he appreciates that, and he said he respects that. So
yeah, and here's the thing about Doug. Like we on IBC were pretty rough on Doug Carter.
Mm-hmm.
And when that Kleinhelter stuff came down, he called me and is like, "Hey, I'd like to get together with you. Can we meet? Can we talk?" And we talked for about an hour. And he was, because he believed in doing the right thing, and he knew we could give a path to shining a light on being able to do the right thing, which is holding that dude accountable. And I think that says a lot about Doug, that he was willing to do that.
All right, Kevin Branham. I like when Doug Carter is on. Kenneth Eagold, can't wait for the Doug Carter interview. Driver, $4 billion surplus, rainy day. It's overbilling and failing to deliver the services requested. Now, how much fraud's going on in Indiana that we hear about Minneapolis and all that, billions of dollars. That could help a lot of people, but and give a lot of money back in taxes. How much of that's going on in Indiana? We will never know, probably.
Well, and you think about, I come back to, I was talking with Debbie Holcomb last night. The things they're having to go through to keep Michael, their son, who is severely disabled.
right
in their house so they can watch him, and they're cutting all of these payments, et cetera, to them because Medicaid's broke. But then we have all this extra money, and it's just like none of it makes any sense. None of it makes any sense.
All right, MLM Warriors, great interview set and great interview, Rob.
Thank you. Jason is all the set. I am the interview. I will take credit for the interview. He will take credit for the set.
Rock Laws, the Carter interview was great. Driver, agree. He was a good guy. All right. And MLM Warriors, no state employees raise.
Well, that ship has sailed.
Yeah. No problem with the state employees themselves. They're just trying to make a living as well. But Josh Richardson, sounds like we need to hire new forecasters.
Well, I've said this for years. How can you be $1 billion off and keep your job?
Mm-hmm. Work for the government.
I mean, you're several $1 billion off based on the surplus, and you said we needed to raise taxes by $1 billion. Like, can you think of any other job where you would be $1 billion off? Like, it's fine.
06010 board. I prefer Marcus Bailey do the forecasting. He's a local weatherman.
That's a good one. I see what he did there.
Yep. Don B. literally just got a letter that Indiana Medicaid is no longer paying a Social Security Administration Part B premium for a fully disabled person, but we have billions of surplus in state coffers. Go figure. Yep. The 06010 board. 86% of all statistics are made up. On fire today in the chat. C-Mills, I have also RSVP'd to the John Rust event. I will be there, which means all y'all need to be there as well.
Who's that, C-Mills?
That was C-Mills.
Yep.
He's going to be there. Kenneth Egold.
And his potato salad. He loved.
Oh, yeah, we got some
Oh, we got something about the potato salad.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Kenneth Eagle, I love my Beats headphones. I can still listen while on the tractor.
Oh, yes.
Awesome. Charles Ludy, I believe I've asked this before, but is there a deadline to RSVP for John's event?
He didn't say. I mean, it's October.
I don't think he'll
3rd.
turn you away at the door, but you may not get any birthday cake.
Yeah. I mean, you want to get in there as fast as you can because he's trying to figure out how much food he's got to order.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
I mean, I would guess like if you could get it to him by August.
Yeah.
That's 2 months, right?
Yeah. We'll talk to John about that. We need to have John back on here and talk about the event.
Yeah. Speaking of talking about stuff, just a reminder, coming up next month, guys, we're launching a new sports betting show. It'll be once a week. It'll be some of our favorite pros. We got local guys who do this. That's what they do.
Should be titled, How to Go Further in Debt.
Well, they're going to try to win you a few bucks.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun with the old sports betting show. So coming up middle of August, we're going to launch it right before college football season. We're going to do an hour show each week. We're going to do college football. We're going to do NFL. So if you're into sports betting, we're bringing that back. We'll hope to be telling you more officially about it coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But keep that in mind on the horizon. Another program coming your way thanks to Rob Kendall Show Industries.
All right, Jay, Indiana. I'd love to know if Jamie Noel gets to keep his state police pension.
That's a good question.
Did he make it to the 25
Well, no.
years?
I think Carter said he was short.
I think, because he was, 22, 21, 22 years, something like that?
Yeah.
So, sorry.
I love that Carter was like, he goes, Carter, in the interview, you go back and we'll post up, you can watch it. Carter said that he said something like, if you give me a certain job, I won't run for sheriff. He's like, nah, you should probably run for sheriff.
Yeah. Jim Tennecore, I've never voted Democratic until this year. I'm sick of all them. They don't care about people at all. He's sick of all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm assuming he's talking about Republicans.
Yeah.
And the 06010 board chimes in. Jim isn't alone in that thinking.
You know, here's what's interesting. We're scheduled to have a guest Monday who is a lifelong Republican who has had it. And he was one of the guys that got invited to like the governor's mansion after the property tax thing went sideways and was supposed to be part of that working group. And he went in there and was just like, this is complete BS. And he got out. He's broken out of the cult. And it's going to be interesting to see what he has to say because this guy's been a lifelong Republican. He's somebody I really sparred with when the governor started having these people come to his house. I was like, don't go. A lot of you guys remember this. I was at him. I was like, do not go. You're being used. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to help you. You're being used. They don't like you. They don't care about you. And maybe his perspective will open some people up. I'm kind of excited for that conversation.
Was there a question here? Okay, never. I thought there was a question, but I'll get back to it. Okay, continuing on. Kevin Branham, Doug Carter is always a good interview. Debbie Holcomb, love listening to Doug. His stories are fascinating. Tony, Indiana. Lieutenant Beckwith is anti-flock. I'm in.
Oh,
I think we have one vote for Beckwith.
Beckwith's against the flock cameras.
Yeah. Josh Richardson, not a reason to vote for the guy. Josh Richardson.
No, he said he's against. He's for the flock cameras now, I think, because he said. I think he's saying since Beckwith.
No, he agrees with Lieutenant Beckwith is anti-flock. I am in.
Is he in on the flock or is he in on Beckwith?
On Beckwith being anti-flock.
Look, I hate to ruin that guy's day, but you better go back and look at Beckwith's record on the Hamilton East Library Board. See if they ever. Somebody should do that today.
Boy, getting into the weeds there.
Did they? Well, see if they ever addressed flock cameras on the Hamilton East Library Board and see what Beckwith's stated position and how he may have how that board may have gone with flock cameras back then. And see how look that up.
They're not getting rid of the flock cameras.
Readily available, and get back to me. Let me know how against
too much money already started. They're not getting rid of any of that stuff. Josh Richardson, I cannot see how Beckwith will ever be able to hold a political office again. Oh, this is Indiana, and he's a Republican. So,
but
look at Diego. Yeah.
But I don't think he wants to hold a political office again. I think he recognized that everything he's doing is.
Will his reality show be finished taping by the time he gets out of office?
Reality show is next. He wants to be in media. I mean, when he makes the comments about the Muslims, you have to understand he doesn't give a damn about you.
Mm-hmm.
He does. This is not about caring about the Muslims or their call to prayer. It's about attention for himself. You notice he didn't make the statement about property taxes or utility bills or the IEDC. It's never anything that would actually help you. It's things that garner attention for himself. Nothing's going to change about the Muslim call to prayer. That is a local zoning ordinance decision. How loud something can be broadcast in your community is a local zoning decision. Your city council, your town council, they control that. Indianapolis can have different rules than Brownsburg or Fishers or whatever. Now, Beckwith may not know that, but it's not about it. All this stuff he does is never stuff that's about helping you.
Mm-hmm.
It's about getting attention.
Not
for
really
himself.
part of the job, is it?
No, it's like do something that actually helps people. Get enraged about stuff that actually helps people. And by the way, the irony of a guy complaining about a religion whose the church he works at, his boss was forced to take a multi-month absence because of their home sex video collection, and the same guy clearly covered up from the church that his son was a hyper dangerous child sex predator.
But I'm sure he asked for forgiveness, so all is well.
Micah's fine with that. He's behind Nathan Peternell.
It's all about
Micah's all on board with Nathan Peternell. His boss, who clearly the body cam footage shows the cops told him that day what his son was accused of doing. And he didn't tell the church. He let the guy back in church where little kids were present. Micah stands behind that. That's not a danger to society. But the Muslim call to prayer, he's had enough of that. No, look, you want to have a conversation with the Muslim call to prayer, I'm fine with. But Micah Beckwith is the last person who should be judging any religion or any church. Period.
06010 board. Beckwith is a goofy caricature of what a conservative should represent and has disappointed on several issues. All right, driver. I doubt Noel, Jamie Noel, will ever pay back the millions he owes, but thinking about him being 70 and trying to work to pay it off, wonder if his retirement can be garnished or taken. Well, somebody will take care of Jamie Noel, because I'm sure Jamie Noel zipped his lips about other things going on. Jamie Noel was not the only culprit. Well, I don't know. I didn't investigate, but according to those in the know, some folks were.
Carter said today they should be investigated.
Yeah. We didn't know. We benefited, but we didn't know. We were afraid. Kevin Branham, good interview, Rob. Steve Green with an E. That was a fantastic segment. We're still talking about Doug Carter. Doug's got a lot of fans. He should start a fan club. Josh Richardson.
Maybe he could run for governor under the Lincoln Party if Ballard gets the 10%.
Yeah, there we go. He's got to pony up some cash. Josh Richardson, always great when Doug is on the show. Rusted Bolt Garage, great segment. Steve Green with an E. Doug Carter is an absolute straight shooter and honest broker. Driver, that was a good one, Rob. Keep them coming. You're doing a great service to us. See, people do like you, Rob. It's great.
They don't know me. That's why they like me. I heard
yeah.
that years ago. Somebody say that.
Sue Seifert. Yay, Dr. Munger.
Yes.
Great that Munger gets a Munger from the old days. That was one of Rob's first interviews back in, that'd have been 2009, 10, something like that.
I told him, I said,
Duke University.
I sent him a message. I said, Dr. Munger, I said, this is going to sound weird, but our audience, for some reason, I have no idea what spurred this. They're requesting you do an interview. And he responded, he goes, that's very sweet of my mother to send that to you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Good old mom in the chat. MLM Warriors, nice blue shirt. Yes, it's Blue Shirt Day. MLM Warriors again, great interview. I will share.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll put it out.
Awesome. MLM Warriors, I think daylight savings time is a big story.
It is, although I don't know, the story hasn't changed because the Senate's apparently not going to vote on it.
Oh, they're not. So, well, okay. The House Senate
Tom Cotton is going to hold it up again. So I don't know what I'm supposed to talk about.
Okay. Charles Luty. Jill, okay, we're talking about Biden.
Right.
Jill knew full well her husband's condition long before the presidential debates. She even tried to hide it from the public like the Roosevelts hid FDR's polio.
Was it Wilson? Was it Woodrow Wilson that had the stroke? And they kept him in his
That was back before social media, though, so it was a little easier.
Can you imagine Woodrow Wilson on social media?
Yeah.
On his Facebook page.
Debbie Holcomb, Kamala would have lost without the Biden bag. Kamala would have still lost without the Biden baggage.
She wouldn't have been the nominee without Biden.
Well, that's true, too. 06010 board. Did you know you can shut off your inclusion in the chat leaderboard? I shall not be monitored. There's always one.
Who was that?
That was 06010 board.
Oh.
He doesn't want to participate in the top fans contest at the end of the show. And he thinks that's going to hurt me. He says, let's leave Jason with no leaderboard. Good luck filling that time, buddy. It's like 30 seconds at the end of the show.
That's great. I would love to meet the 06010 board. What is it? 06?
06010 board.
One of these days, 06010 board guy is going to reveal his true identity because he's been a fan of ours for years.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to meet him in person just to see what because he's a riot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, y'all are funny. 06010 board guy is pretty strong, and he's been strong for years on social media.
And then he adds, should have saved that for April 1st. Just no chat at all. Everybody be like, the chat's broke. Somebody call YouTube. All right. Cat's out of the bag now, though. Nice to be Green with an E. That would be Steve Green's wife.
Yes.
Or actually, Steve Green would be her husband, is what it is. Morning, all. We have an otherwise well-educated family member that voted for Biden for exactly the same reason. To me, I don't need to exchange Christmas cards with the president to vote for them. You were talking about the producer guy the ignorant producer guy that didn't like Trump, so he was not.
He liked Trump's policies,
right?
But not Trump.
Couldn't separate the man from the policy,
right? And I remember telling people in 2020, I said there were going to be. People got so mad at me. We used to talk about this in the Chicks on the Right all the time. I kept saying, I said, people are going to vote. We should pay attention to this guy because there's a bunch of people out there like, well, that's so stupid. It's like, doesn't matter if it's stupid or not. The vote counts the same. You need to be aware of how people are voting.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Driver, on iPhone app, I keep getting audio issues. Anyone else having that happen? Driver's been in for a few days complaining about audio. His audio keeps dropping, or her audio keeps dropping. No, it's just you, driver, that I don't know, maybe better antenna. We don't know where you're from, what tower you're on. What was it? Gentry had a post. I just happened to see Matt Gentry's post from last week where Verizon, the cell towers, all that went down on the north side of Indianapolis. And he was trying to investigate and find out why, and people were giving him a hard time. And, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. But that was right after we had that little glitch that a few people were complaining about. So if you're on the north side, and it's not just Verizon because the other services, AT&T and a lot of them, rent space on their tower. So if one tower goes down, it's for all the services. So maybe if you're north side, that could be an issue. It just depends really where you are at. But I'm sorry you're having those audio issues. All right. At some point you mentioned you got a guy. What was that reference to today? Because Vic Ferrari says, well, we got a guy. His name's Producer Jason.
Oh.
Yes.
I don't know.
I'm the guy. All right. We're talking about...
you got to understand, this show's like a fever dream to me. I say it, it's like, and then it just goes out.
I got you.
I don't even remember any of it.
Yeah, I don't either. People talking about double D's and Baby Fishmouth asking C. Mills, is the potato salad mustard or mayo based?
Oh.
Yeah, because inquiring minds want to know.
Oh, that's a big deal, right? Yeah.
Like Doug Cobb, I want to know.
Yeah.
C. Mills answers. What do you think, Rob? Mustard or mayo?
Mayo.
Wrong.
Oh, it's mustard.
It's mustard. The best is mustard. Always mustard. And Baby Fishmouth, oh, that's the right answer. So Baby Fishmouth says at some point she's going out there.
Oh, you got to.
But she's from Noblesville, so that's a long drive.
C. Mills.
Quite an effort. Don't go Monday or Tuesday because they're not open.
Yeah, Wednesday through Saturday.
Yeah, it'd be a long
C.
drive.
Mills was so adamant yesterday about the potato salad, and he's like, said, I'll work it
there's
into
a
the
lot
end.
of conversation about.
Oh, good.
Let's
go. Yes, great.
Yeah. Oh no, we're not going to. I mean, it's in there. So.
And he was huge on the fountain drink, the size of the fountain drink. He was very impressed by the fountain. Or
soda's bad for you.
Quality.
Now
of the
that I don't
fountain
drink soda anymore, soda's bad for you. You should not drink soda.
Yeah, I know you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But he was very adamant that I tell everybody about the fountain drink too.
Usually not. Driver, what is the chance or possibility to talk to Mock, Greg Garrison, or Relford for interviews? I assume no, but interested in your opinion. Now, Relford can't because even though we wish them well, it's still a little too soon. We've heard that from somewhere.
I talk to Mock every so often. I doubt she would do.
You don't think you could get her on a Zoom?
Maybe. I don't know. She
not like you? Or?
No. It's just she doesn't do. Mock don't go nowhere if she don't get paid. That's her thing. Yeah, no.
You could send her a Double D's gift certificate.
She's not working if she don't get paid. I talk to Mock every so often. I talked to Mock quite a bit after I got. Well, not when I got let go. She
wouldn't do you a solid.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't view it as a solid. Is it okay?
Well, people would like to hear from.
Well, then
Mock.
tell Mock.
I thought that was the best version. I did not like Mock and Daisy together. Something about Daisy I just didn't care for. I don't know what it was. Great talent, great personality, great person, and all that. But those two together, just too many, I don't know, vagina jokes and things. It just didn't appeal to me. When you got on, it was a little, you put a little testosterone in there, and you shook it up a little bit. Gave them topics they weren't quite comfortable with. But then when it was you and Mock, I think that was the best version of that show because it flowed quickly. She knew how to handle you. She never got upset. She would bring you down when you go off the rails, and I thought that was the perfect combination.
Mock was by far the most fun person I ever worked with. I did enjoy going to work every single day. I was
until
devastated.
They ran her off.
Well, yeah, I was devastated when she left, and I knew that it would never ever be the same. And everybody seemed to see that, but the people who were making the choice and that whatever. All right, here's the deal. I'm telling you right now. If I ask her to come on, she does not want to work when she's not working, so she's going to say no unless you people pester her.
Well, then it's on her.
So if you tweet at Chicks on the Right and say, Mock, we want you to come on Rob's show, she might do it.
Do it nicely, though.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Harassing her.
But I'm telling you, I'm having known her for as long as I do. If it's not, you can't really blame her. Would you want to work if you don't get paid?
Well, I mean, do an interview.
She does a show every day.
If she called you and said, Rob, would you do an interview on our show with Zoom?
I don't know.
I don't have time.
I was on that show for years.
I got stuff going on.
Remember the morning videos, guys, where I would walk in with my soda every day, and then I would get on the camera with them?
Soda's bad for you.
You're real. If you guys ask Mock, then maybe she'll say yes. I'm telling you right now, though. I'm telling you right now. If I ask her, she will say no unless you guys politely ask her to do it. Then she might do it.
Okay, moving on. Charles Ludi, are we to believe in buy based on his family name alone? I'm not convinced.
Who's asking anybody to believe and buy?
I think it's a rhetorical question. I don't think you told him to.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I think, are we to believe in the buy based on his family name alone, or should we vote for Ballard? Or not that he's asking you again, but I think it was just a rhetorical. And Liam, 8743, Charles, but the option is Banks cabal.
Well, that's my point. I don't care who people vote for. Don't vote for the Republicans. I don't know.
So you are throwing out voting suggestions. Not endorsement.
No, I said an endorsement.
No, I said suggestion. You suggested don't vote for the Republican, so you can't get out of that one. And that's fine. I think a lot of people are. Charles Ludi, and the fact that he has an advantage raising significant amounts of money. Well, it takes money to run. And we'll get to it here also. There's a couple other things. Robert Schwartz, Bai will be drugged down by the Dem socialist surge because, that's going to be a summer or August, September. The Democrat socialists are going to make big demonstrations, things like that, city takeovers and all that. Ballard will pull a lot of votes from Indianapolis and the immediate counties. All England has to do is be competitive. The rest of the state is his. Well, but you also look at how many people down in, I know it's a very small sampling of people, but Du Bois County, Lagodi, that area down there, all those people are very anti-Braun. I don't think those people are straight Republican voters, and there's no Democrats down there. I don't believe. That's not a Democrat nest, is it? So probably
Evansville is.
The city, but probably that area is typically red. Will they vote straight ticket even though they're anti-Braun and Rikita and all those people that have come down and made their life hell? So maybe not.
Look, all he's got to do is get to 10% and it's a victory. I mean, that's
not
it.
for him, but
for
the party.
Yeah. I mean, all he's got to do is get 10% and it's a resounding victory. Now I know he wants to win, so
thanks, Greg. Now go away.
He would out of the way, Grandpa. Us young people are taking over.
Rob only needs $10 million for the party you started.
Would that be great? Nice work, Grandpa. Now the senior home is over there.
Right. Okay. Kenneth Egold, I go to Honeysuckle Hill weekly.
Yes, he does. He sends me the photos. Ken Egold does send me the photos weekly.
Okay. So what else do we have here? Okay. MLM Warriors, I will message Mock.
Okay, perfect. I would love to have Mock on.
Oh, Rock Laws. I will send Mock a nice REA. Not sure what that is. Courtney Hill, Jason, I like you, but there is no accident on the. There's no accent on the B in Du Bois, so it'd be
Dubois.
No accent on the B. How would you say that? Du Bois.
I mean,
it's Du Bois, right?
Jason.
Did I say Du Bois? It's Du Bois.
Jason McCoy, who is from Du Bois County, is here, and he says it the same way we say it.
Maybe I said Du Bois, like B-O-Y-S, Du Bois instead of Du Bois.
Dubois?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Help me out on that, ML. Who did that? Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Let's continue on. MLM Warriors bragging about his points. We're not there yet. It's not over yet. People can still jump ahead.
Do you know how many points you have in real time?
Yeah, you can see them up there. You just hit the little thing there.
Okay, all right.
And there was a couple others on here I saw that I wanted to get back to. Mock and Rob was better than Rob and Casey, MLM Warriors.
Mock was the most fun I ever had, was that year and a half we worked together. It was every day was a joy. She was fun to hang out with. Mm-hmm. She was fun to work with. Mm-hmm. I wish that show could have gone forever.
Mm-hmm. Baby Fishmouth, she likes likes her diet soda in the fountain from McDonald's, says it's the gold standard. That'll rot your stomach.
You have a theory on the McDonald's soda.
Yes, because it's I was drinking it every morning with my breakfast, and my son's like, man, that's going to kill you. Nobody drinks Diet Coke in the morning with their breakfast. Well, I do, and I've done it for years. And of course, I always had stomach problems and things like that. Sometimes I'd sit here like, man, I'm feeling sick in my stomach. I don't know what I've got. I'm sick or whatever. And what was it, about 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Only about 3, maybe 4 weeks ago. I just cold turkey stopped doing the diet soda.
Here's the thing about
no stomach issues. I feel great. It's just everything. It's all different. So all those years people kept telling me that's bad for you. It'll rot your brain. It'll, formaldehyde and all that and everything. I'm like, that's just you. Shut up and let me drink what I want to drink.
Here's the thing
I won't tell you what to drink. But
don't go on a trip with Jason because he will stop every 20 minutes at a fast food place.
No, see, I don't do that anymore. Now, basically, when I go on trips, I stop at Casey's and get a slice of pepperoni pizza and was Diet Coke. I'm not sure now. So what I did was I switched the Diet Coke to unsweet tea, which is gross. I'll admit, very gross. Unsweet tea, nasty. But it's got the caffeine, so you still get the caffeine, and you just sip a little bit of that or whatever, and then you go to water and that's what works for me. Nothing worse than somebody that, a lifelong smoker that quits and 3 weeks later, smoking's going to kill you.
But you admit there was a point where traveling with you every 20 minutes, we had to stop at a drive-through.
Back in the day.
Yeah, it took forever.
I get hungry.
Take forever, man.
Right.
GIF agreed with me on that, by the way.
Brian Giffen,
yes.
All right. Oh, baby fish mouth, not Diet Coke. That's gross, she says. So it's apparently regular Coke.
Oh, I gotcha.
Or a fountain drink. I'm not sure. We don't need to get into all that. Okay. So the anything else, Rob?
Like anything else? What?
I mean, we're.
Oh no! I mean, if
you said
you control the chat.
Right on the time here.
You control the chat. When you're done,
right?
I'll tell everybody have a good day.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I mean, we got to build the set here. We got somebody coming in.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Our time has expired for the chat today. What a great chat it was. All right, let's see how many who won the chat today. C. Mills at number 10, tied with Robert Schwartz at number 9 with 200 points. Debbie Holcomb, 225 points. Steve Green with an E, 225. Josh Richardson, 225. Charles Ludi, 225. Sue Seifert, 225. That goes all the way from 4th to 8th place right there.
Wow.
And then we get the hardcores. Number 3, Driver. I knew Driver would be up there because he's all over the chat today. 300 points. Rock Loss, 325. Our big winner, again, today, Kevin Branham.
Yeah.
475 points.
You know, Branham's
won by a whopping 150.
You're a race car fan. You know, it seems like every year in race car. You used to be.
No, never.
Yeah.
My mom is. Mom's a big
Yeah,
huge,
you used to always tell me about the races. I don't know anything about them.
Okay.
NASCAR, right? Wasn't it NASCAR you used to watch all the time?
Not really.
Anyway. Thanks for playing along.
Sure.
But there's always like a driver.
Love NASCAR, yeah.
There's like a driver, right? Like it was Dixon for all those years in the IndyCar where they just win every race.
Right.
Kevin Branham is turning into Dixon.
Right.
You know, like he's winning every race. You guys
or Kyle Busch would be more recent.
See, you knew it because you're a NASCAR fan.
Of course, he's no longer with us now.
But you knew it because you're a NASCAR fan.
Right. So,
exposed yourself.
All right. And by the way, the way you get these points is you get in the chat, and the more you chat, I'm not sure how it works, the more points you get. But I think Kevin Branham has figured out the key that you get in the night before, because I usually put up the live show about 6 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock, and he's always hopping in there and chatting. Because he likes the chat. Yeah. But that also racks up the points. So I think if you want to get into the leaderboard, you got to get in the night before. Usually about 7 o'clock, you can pop on over. Rob gets me the title for the next day, and we get it up there. So that'll do it for the chat for today. Brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. One more day to go this week.
All right. That's going to do it for us today. You guys stay cool. Take care of your neighbors. Have a great rest of your day. If you haven't done so yet, before you leave, hit that little thumbs up button before you go. Really helps us out. And we'll see you tomorrow, 9 until noon. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been watching. You've been listening to Rob Kendall Show.